There I am. So I have the house to myself for a few hours, so I figured I'd come on in here and see if anyone is up to hang out and talk what we normally talk, music. I also got some pizza and beer with me, so if you want to just hang out for a little while, uh, we'll see who may or may not show up. Um, so let's see. Last night, one of my best friends in the world, um, went to Ford Field in Detroit to see Metallica, the first of two nights. They do the Friday, Saturday night thing. Um, no repeat weekends, as they call it. Um, and he hadn't seen Metallica in a very, very long time. So, as have I. I mean, I haven't seen them since 1998. Um, Last time I saw them, they were doing a promotional tour for Garage Inc. And it was just an all cover set in a theater, um, and it was amazing. So that was the last time I saw them, and I'm like, I'll never see them again because they're not going to top that show right there. So anyway, my buddy, he was texting me the whole time throughout the concert, and he was rather, as he put it, underwhelmed with the show, and I get it. You know, they're older guys now. They're not going to be banging heads like they used to, and as I put it to him, there are our generation's Rolling Stones. They're the elder statesmen for us. So yeah, they're not going to be absolutely crazy. So um, yeah, so I earlier today I made a comment on the Detroit Free Press uh, Facebook. I think they had an article about Metallica playing and said that, yeah, my buddy said he was underwhelming. And man, I had a few people that were just, they were defenders. What's, what were you expecting, them to be, completely thrashing out? It's like, no, I mean, yeah, they're older guys. So yeah, I get it. So, uh, I see a couple other people in there. Say hi if you're in the comments, please, so I know who's on here. Just hanging out at the house. Got the house to myself, um, so yeah. People defending me saying that Metallica is just that my friend said that Metallica was underwhelming last night. So it got in discussions. I'm like, hey man, if that's your thing, if you like um going to big shows. I don't particularly like big shows anymore, big stadiums, arenas. Um, yeah, I know, Simon. I think they're called Metallica. Hey, if you want to join in, it's I don't know what time is it there. You want to come on? It's not 3 in the morning for you, I don't think, right? Um, got a vanilla porter. This was inspiration from Alex at Beer and Vinyl. He had that the other day. So, myself, I like going to club shows, small theaters. Um, I just feel more comfortable there. I know a lot of people just don't like big, small cramped places, but I thrive uh, in that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put invite in here for whoever wants to come on. We'll put that here. 9:20. Okay. Um, let's see. How am I gonna get this on here? But so yeah, I feel more comfortable in clubs. Um, I mean, like that's about a year ago. I saw this band uh out of France called Slift. They played here in Seattle. Um, and it was in a place that held 300 people and it was sold out. So it was pretty um pretty packed in there. And I was probably, there's like a row of people in front of me, so I was pretty close to the stage. And it was one of those, you felt really connected with the band and the people surrounding you. It was like just one just big, not swirling or anything, but the whole thing was just, we were all one. I know that sounds really cliche, um, uh, but it turned out of the hundreds of shows I've seen, that pretty much topped my list of all time favorites. It was awesome. Um, trying to get see if I can get the copy as and let's see if I can get this on here. Does that work? Nope, that's not. So let's see. I'm trying to get the. Sorry, I'm new at copying and pasting on a laptop. I know I should. Um shoot, I should have done this ahead of time. But let's see. Try this again. Okay, got that. All right, see. Never been to a metal gig, but always preferred the underground raves where you can. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the big stadium gigs, they have their place. I get it. Um, but it also seems the performers at a club, they feel more appreciative of you being there. So let's see. Hit command. Let's see. See if this works. There we go. So if anyone wants to come on, there we go. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna eat too. I didn't have lunch today, so made me a frozen pizza, taco flavor. So my friend also saw, and I'll put it in air quotes, Pantera, or as I call it, Half Terra. Um, he said they were actually really good. He hadn't seen them since probably about '92. I guess they opened for Megadeth one time, and said that they were all right. And that Zach and Charlie did a really good job of filling in for Diamond Vinny. So there's that. Heaviest band ever. In actual weight or in music, because at one point the heaviest band ever was Crowbar, just in sheer body mass. But he didn't. Oh, speaking of body mass, he was saying that Mammoth, that he's like, man, Wolfgang got big, and I'm like, yeah. He's Wolfgang Fat Halen, but I know I shouldn't say something like that, but it's all good and fun. So, all right, we have other people here. um, I tried listening to that Mammoth. I mean, it's okay. Not my cup of tea. I don't want to say it's middle of the road, but yeah, it's just kind of there for me. Um, back on the Pantera thing, I guess Phil was not yelling at the crowd, but asking the crowd, "Hey, you want us to come back?" And my friend's like, "I don't think they're going to be recording." I'm like, "I don't think they're going to record either because that would really, you know, stir a whole new shitstorm if that were to happen." Um, but I know Charlie, he's got him and Anthrax, they got a new album coming out in the coming year. So I think he's gonna be tied up with that for probably the next 2-3 years. I mean, god damn, they uh, toured off of For All Kings for a few years. It seemed like, and COVID didn't help either. So um, it's good stuff. So um, obviously, I haven't picked up anything since I'm saving for trip. Hey, Mickey, if you'd like to come on, I got the invite up there. Um, I can try this again if you want. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, yeah, Simon. If they would tour doing like their own headline show. I mean, I know they're doing that in the States here. Real selective just to kind of fill in the weekdays. Um, hey William, if you want to come on, I got the invite there. Um, hey, I get it, Mickey. I actually got my own food too, so I'm not finding it rude to you know eat and live stream if that's an actual thing. So uh, but yeah, William, I got the thing maybe in a few. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll be on for a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, got the house to myself for a few hours. Kid is off with her friends at the mall. She's 11 and she's already becoming a teenager, hitting the mall. um, and then the wife is out with neighbor and some other friends. I guess they have this thing called a Christmas bus where they go off drinking and shopping, which is to me a dangerous combination. So, but like I was saying, I haven't picked up anything because I've been saying a lot. I've been saving up for these trips. Well, one trip we got taken care of, the Disneyland. That's all done in the books. And then the spring, first time going to the UK. That one I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, yes, dangerous indeed. Um, so that I'm gonna be. Let's see. Will there be a pizza review? Well, this is from Costco. This is from a company called Pizza Time, and this is where the irony comes in. Not really irony, but it's a Canadian company, and it's doing a taco pizza. So I'm getting both borders in between. So it could use some hot sauce. It could use some extra flavor, but it's pretty good. Um, but yeah, the UK trip coming up in the spring, most of the time is going to be in Scotland because my buddy's from there, so we're going to be meeting some of his family, some of his friends, um, seeing the sights. I'm not too familiar with the sights in Scotland. I'm just looking forward to going there. Who farted? I, I I'll blame it on the dog laying down right here. Yeah. Yes, Greg. Pizza party at my house. Bring your own pizza. That's all I gotta say. So I'll put another link here if anyone wants to come on, because I feel like I'm kind of I'm replying to the comments, but I still kind of feel like I'm just talking to my computer. Um, but yeah, we're supposed to do I think 3 or 4 days in London, so that I'm super psyched about. Um, One of the things I want to do is go to my third and final stop of making it to all 3 Third Man Records locations. Hey Rachel, how you doing? You got the link if you want to come on. Um so yeah, in hitting London and hopefully some surrounding areas. There's some places that if I can make it to, I'd like to hopefully swing by Birmingham and see the Black Sabbath bridge and bench that they have there for the guys. While in London, of course, I gotta walk across the street at Abbey Road like every other tourist idiot. Hey, let's get Rachel on here. Rachel.
Good. Had to mute you. So I got it on YouTube, so it doesn't echo and everything.
Am I getting an echo?
No, you're going good.
Okay.
We're all good. Nice to see you. How's the live stream going?
Well, I'm just kind of, like it said, free for all. I felt like I was kind of talking in the void there for a while.
Yeah, it's tough when you're by yourself a little bit unless you got something to burden on, and then you try and release the burden. Something that you're hot about that you want to talk about, get it out to the people, right?
Yeah, well, it's just the live stream that I do with Steve from All the World's a Stage.
He's great.
Yes, it's awesome guy. And we do that every other Sunday. I'm going to bring William up here too. William.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Wow, Blaine Williamson. So Blaine, is it interesting spelling on your name?
Yeah. Do you know who Blaine Williamson is?
No, you got to teach me.
You must not be subscribed to the Pumping Vinyl channel then.
Probably not.
Okay. Well, there's actually a big Blaine Williamson update on the Pumping Vinyl channel.
Yeah.
Today. Did you happen to catch that, Trevor?
No, I didn't. I've been kind of bopping around the house all day. What's happening?
Sure. Yeah. No, you're good. No, it's so my name on my channel, I just go by William the Flipper. Actually, Paulina Angel's crew nicknamed me William the Flipper, but I sort of run with a few different characters on my channel, and just to kind of keep things interesting. But I'm going to post the link to the video I just
done.
What's that? Yeah, I'm going to post the link here, and then if anybody is not subscribed or want to check me out, funny. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Some of the stuff I have been trying to make funny, but when you lose energy and you watch that stuff back, it doesn't seem as funny.
Right.
Hey to the chat. Just posted the link there. I am Pumping Vinyl, William the Flipper, aka William V. Taper or Blaine Williamson. That's my newscaster name. But anyways, I'm going to open up. Are you okay if I drink this Elysian Space Dust?
Hey, Yeah, of course.
Okay.
They have some of our product in there.
Yeah, this is like the one Pacific Northwest beer that I have available to me here in Nebraska. So,
There you go.
oh, I see Dave the Pickup Artist. What's up, man?
Hey, Dave. So, Rachel, now, what part of Canada are you in?
I'm in currently in Nanaimo, British Columbia, but I'm from Victoria, BC as
Oh,
well.
okay. So you're just north of me then. Yeah, because I saw that Mazzy was up there with you.
Yeah, Matt, we hooked up in Vancouver, him, me, and John, who's Dagon.
Right on.
Where does Mazzy live?
Massey's in Seattle.
Yeah, he's in West Seattle.
Okay, that's funny. I used to live out in Seattle too, but I thought he was more like New York City. But
Well, he was out there recently at Arnaldo's.
Yeah, in New
yeah.
York, Ronaldo. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, I need to get his channel. I can't find. I don't know the name of his channel.
Arnaldo, he's
Norman Maslow.
no, he knows Massey. He's talking about Arnaldo's channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll get Arnaldo for you.
But yeah,
I subbed up Blaine here. So you got 208 subscribers. Congratulations.
I suppose, yeah. Been sitting on 208 for like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, you just keep putting out your content. I find the YouTube Shorts are a good way for generating subscribers.
yeah.
It depends on what kind of reach you're going for. Like for some people, shorts do great.
Yeah.
Other people, like if you can make a good 45-minute solid video of you going out of town and finding some cool records and putting a story behind it, like that's my skill. Like that's kind of that's my bread and butter. So I get those videos get quite a bit of views. But when I do like a thread response, those get terrible reviews. So I do not do much thread responses anymore, and I just kind of try and stick and do my own thing. But
I think that's a good way to go about doing things. Is if you create your own niche, in this widely loose association called the vinyl community.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's tough. I'll tell you what. I mean, you got people out there running contests so they can get subscribers, but I mean, the bad thing about that is like all the people care about is the prize in the contest. They care less about your content.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of those is to get people interested in your content. So I'll tell you the kind of contests I'm going to do if I ever hit it. I'm going to just say this right now. If I ever hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm not going to make an announcement. When I hit 1,000, I'll give something away. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, guys, if I get 1,000 subscribers, I'll give you the 4 Metallica albums. It's like that's just like then they're going to hit unsubscribe as soon as I send them the records. But
yeah, there's Arnaldo's channel. Fidelios Frequency is what he's called out in New York.
Okay.
He's a good guy.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
And where are you based out of? You said British Columbia?
Yeah, I'm in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island right now.
Okay.
And just moved here, kind of retired out here now. Stresses better. Yes, exactly.
Right on. Yeah, we my wife and I, we're south of Seattle. And we've been here coming up 14 years, and we have yet to go north of the border. So
yeah, I mean, well, you got to have motivation. Usually, there's somebody you got to know. We're very similar to in terms of terrain, geography. So there's water, there's orcas, there's seals, there's all this sort of thing.
But I mean, we used to go into Canada all the time because being originally from Detroit, we would,
Windsor.
We'd cross over all the time. And so it really wasn't that big of a deal at first, but now it's just like, man, we haven't been there yet. And it's been, like I said, almost like a decade and a half. And
yeah, you gotta have a kind of a rationale. And there's a hassle of traveling. Of course, we had the COVID thing in 2019, 20. So that changed a lot, right? In terms of how people could move and all the rest of it. And they had lockdowns and all sorts of things.
Yeah, that border was like completely locked for the longest time. Like no one could cross over. So, I mean, I don't know how that was supposed to, stop a virus, but,
Yeah. Simon, did you see that link I dropped out for Arnaldo? It's
I saw that. Yeah, I'm going to try to.
Because he goes, your settings mustn't be allowing links or something.
I'm trying to see if I could get it on my phone here. I'm not used to using this laptop, so I didn't
Yeah.
want to click on it and then like vacate from the live stream. So
So, Rachel, can I get a little bit of appreciation for my baseball cap real quick?
Yeah, Expos, man.
Okay. I was almost like expecting that. I'm
Well,
not fishing for a compliment or nothing.
no, of course not. No, Expos, they're the Washington Nationals now. Of course, the
Yeah.
franchise is defunct, and it moved to DC. So
Yeah.
fans there
You
can cheer for Washington for the DC team.
oh,
what's funny is when I would go to Seattle Mariners games while living in Seattle, whenever the Blue Jays would play, it's funny because Toronto's on the East Coast or Eastern Standard Time, and for a Mariners game, which is on the West Coast, it would be like 50% Mariners fans, 50% Blue Jays fans. So they are Canada's team, that's for sure.
Yeah, Toronto is, and of course everybody comes down. Like, what do they call it in football? Like, what is it, the 13th man or whatever they call it?
the 12th man.
Yeah,
the 12th
yeah.
man. When everybody comes down, a lot of Canadians come down for Seahawks games to support the Seahawks, especially from Vancouver, because it's like I'm on the island, so we have to boat over. So it's not so much from the island, but people on the mainland that are close along the border there, they call it boundary. Mile zero, the boundary highway, and it's like America's on one side of the street, Canada's on the other, with no gate, no fence, no nothing. People can walk across the street and borrow a cup of sugar from one another. There are a lot of farmland on both sides, so their lifestyles are pretty much identical, and the TV they're getting and the broadcasting they're getting is all the same as well through Bellingham, and that's where KBOS 12 comes up. And so I was raised on Washington State Television, KBOS, Como, KOMO, Channel 4, Cairo 7, and King 5, so King County, right?
Right.
So we have a lot of exposure to Seattle. JP Patches was as much an institution up here. And even when I was like 4 years old watching Brakeman Bill, and only people from the Pacific Northwest know who the hell Brakeman Bill was. He's passed away now, but it was like he ran a kids show,
Okay.
And so the same thing happens with PBS in Detroit, where you've got the PBS Detroit station there, and then they broadcast. A lot of Canadian stations pick that up, just like Canada, on the West Coast here, we'd pick up a lot of the Washington State public television.
Right. Yeah. Growing up, we had Channel 9, which is I believe it was a CBC channel.
Yeah, that's our national broadcaster, state broadcaster.
Yeah. In fact, well, I don't know. I mentioned it when I was on your channel or your live stream months and months ago. But I was, when 9/11 hit, I was in Montreal with some friends. They were on tour, if you want to count 7 dates in a row, a tour. But so we were staying at some girl's apartment, and they found CBC for us because everything else was in French.
Oh, yeah, because you're in Quebec.
Yeah.
Yeah, the French province. So that's their language. And
right. So
language laws they have for all that.
Yeah. So, it was 2 bands. There's like 11 Americans sitting there in this apartment watching television, and you could hear like the proverbial pin drop. We were just, we didn't know if we were going to get stuck in the country. We end up still going on that night in Quebec City, a place I really do want to go back to, because I mean that place is just gorgeous.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Very European looking castle like buildings and stuff. But the next day we crossed over where Quebec and Maine meet up, and I'm used to the border in Detroit going into Canada. And I'm sure it's probably similar there at Vancouver and the top of Washington, where it's probably, rows and rows of, where cars and trucks go through. This border, it looked like the shack at a state park.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so there's 2 vans, 2 trailers, and the guard comes out, and he reminded me of like Barney Fife from the Andy Griffith show, trying to act all tough.
Yeah. One bullet in the gun, I think. Didn't
Yeah,
he
and
have one
even that I
bullet?
think was a blank too. But he's looking at us, being rock people, and he was saying, "Yeah, these borders are tight. They haven't been this tight since JFK got assassinated." And
Yeah, they
uh,
were. I mean, they shut down everything, and it was kind of cool because Newfoundland opened up the airport, so a lot of planes were diverted in Newfoundland. So
right,
there's pictures all over the news. I woke up to that because they said a plane, a small, or they didn't say small plane, it just said a plane has hit the Twin Tower in New York, and I went, oh man, I guess it's some sort of fucking Cessna that must have
that's
hit. And I just bought a 65-inch TV. They didn't have flat screens in 2001, but they had big, bulky 65-inch TV sets that you could roll around. And I just bought one. And so I came in because it came on the radio. So it woke me up. I went in, clicked on the first tower, already smoking. So I go, what? And then I sat down, watched for a half an hour, and then I saw the second plane hit the second
right,
tower. And then tears just shot out my eyes because I think intuitively I knew that like 2,000 people had just died in front of my eyes. And I was
right.
just like, it was horrific. It was horrific. And it was the most shocking thing I've ever seen in my life. That.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we didn't get to. Not that we were looking forward to it, but we didn't see it happening. We were
Yeah.
in a cafe at the time having breakfast, and first my brother-in-law called me, asking me where I was at, and because he thought we were in New York, because we were having talks about was it there's a I don't even know if it's still in existence. There was a magazine called CMJ, like College Music Journal, I want to say it was.
Yeah.
They would have a festival in New York, and we were gonna, try to get on it last second, and that obviously didn't happen. But
Yeah.
he was checking to make sure that we weren't in New York, and he tells me, "Yeah, there's some plane hit New York, and they're locking down the streets." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever. That sucks for them." And then my manager at work called me asking me the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, are you in New York? I'm like, no, we're in Montreal. Oh, well, and then he told me about the second plane hitting, and stuff's really going down now. And I relayed this to the guys at the table there. I'm like, yeah, we gotta wrap this up and get back to the apartment and see what's going on. So yeah, it was a real trying morning. But the thing is, when that night when we were in Quebec, and there's that, not stereotype, but the where it's kind of known that the French Canadians for some reason don't like Americans for some reason. I don't know, but
Well, French Canadians don't like Canadians.
oh, okay.
I mean, they've got their own scene going there, man.
Right. Well,
They want their French culture. They don't want any English speaking people.
Right, which is fine to a point. But anyway, so this show, the first band on is like some young punk rock band, French speaking, and the singer comes out on the stage and says something in French, and the whole crowd goes quiet. And then he said, merci, and then they proceed to rock. And I'm like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that, but I think maybe this younger generation was, like, well, people are people, so.
Were you were you in a band there, Trev?
No, I was if you want to call it, roadie tech, the guy helping just lug shit from the van into the venue.
Yeah, roadie. Basically, you're doing the roadie's job.
But I mean, it was my roommate's
Then
band.
petite there, pie face. Pie. See, I don't know the word pie, but visage for face. I know that. So a little bit, words here and there. I read it better than I speak it, even though I'm French. Like I got a lot. I'm into genealogy, heavy duty, Trevor.
Okay.
And, so because of that, so I'm all interested in kind of and I did DNA testing, all this sort of stuff, because I was adopted out. So I was looking for all that. And so, yeah, I just love cultures and learning about things. But yeah, I got a lot of French ancestry, Scottish, German, Irish, real Heinz 57, English, and of course Native American. I'm a quarter Native American.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Quite a bit.
Yeah, Cree mostly, and then the Kiowa, and they shipped them to the Kiowa people. They shipped them. They were Plains Indian, like along with the Sioux and the Lakota. They shipped them down to Oklahoma. So the Kiowa people are located there now, but originally they were Plains Indians, so they go where the buffalo go out and around. So kind of interesting. And then Dene, which is a kind of a sub Arctic people, or just below the Eskimos, right? The Inuit people. Then you get Dene. Then underneath them, it's all stratified. Then you get the Cree Nation, and they're the biggest tribe in Western Canada. They kind of conquered everybody up here.
Right on. Yeah, I was talking to my dad yesterday about our genealogy, and I kind of want to do that 23andMe, but I'm also frightened by it too, that like I'm gonna get mixed up in some DNA thing and I'm gonna end up on Dateline. And
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, there are the surprises do come in, because there's what called NPEs, like non-parental events, basically, affairs, this sort of thing. And so there is that risk when you find, holy crap, dad's not my dad. That literally happened to my better half sitting beside me here.
Oh, really?
I do want to give you just a heads up, Trev. I'm going to be doing a live stream because I just hit 5,000 subscribers for my channel.
Oh, and, congratulations.
Yeah,
congratulations.
So I just wanted to thank you very much, guys. So I just said I'm going to do a live stream today. So I'm doing one when I don't normally do one. And I scheduled it for 2:00 because it's usually kind of a quieter day. It's hard. Friday nights are stupid. Like you can't. So I didn't want to do it on Friday. And I thought, well, if I come in the afternoon, then I can get in and get out and clear Saturday night, because I can only assume that there's going to be some partying going on Saturday night somewhere with some of these channels.
So I'm glad that we were your warm-up act.
Yeah, well, it's a great warm act. Trevor, you're great. And you're always welcome, drop by the show and promote your channel, whatever you're doing. Just talk to the people. They like it. And you're welcome to come,
Well, thank you.
Are you doing that tonight?
Yeah, right now, like in 7 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll definitely, as soon as Trevor's done, I'll stop in and say hi. And
yeah,
I'm all about the vinyl community live streams right now. And congratulations on 5,000.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, especially since you kind of had to start all over again.
The old channel was taken down, and there was all sorts of problems. It's unfortunate, there's conflicts and stuff. You mentioned Paulina, Angel of Light. Her and I have conflict. I'm a heavy duty conservative, even though I'm a transsexual, which is really weird. But and I think that kind of irks her somewhat. And
isn't she kind of too? Or something?
She's transgender, yeah.
Okay,
but she's more on the left side of things.
Yeah, I hear you.
She's a self-described, what do you call it, social justice warrior. So
Gotcha.
She's very active politically. I just kind of say stupid stuff.
She's a Taylor Swiftie.
Yeah, that's
not PC, and she didn't like that very much.
Hey, Dave, pickup artist. By the way, you're getting in on the nominations. You were nominated for Best Parody Channel. I got channels that parody my channel. Got so damn popular.
Wait, whose channel?
Dave the Pickup Artist.
Oh, Best Parody Channel?
Yeah, well, parodies, like, because they watch my show and then they take me and they do things and they put my head on different things and all sorts of activity. So Dave, you've been nominated, so you're in there. Davey Strange Name's nominated, Marius Stark's nominated, Vinyl Community Casting, whose byline used to be, or the tagline was, following the antics or the adventures of a notorious live stream, vinyl community live stream, namely my own. So we shall see what happens, Dave, if you're going to be the lucky winner there. You're in tight with some pretty talented competition.
Where are these awards at?
They're going to be on my show in January. The voting's just concluded. They're in-house. So there's a lovely lady named Maria Wesley, and she does a contest for the wider vinyl community. So you could be nominated, Blaine. Trevor may get nominated, but she's looking at the big thing. Mine's more insular. It's just dealing for the people. I do a show every day, 6 a.m., 3-hour show daily. Goes for 3 hours. We have a cast of characters on. People come in, people go. And the thing is, it's a really great vehicle for picking up a few quick subs. If you want
Yeah,
some subscribers,
sure. I can attest to that, yes.
and then I go, hey, everybody, here's Blaney is a good guy, or here's Trevor. Give them a sub, drop a link for your channel, gentlemen. You do that, they'll promote you and do all the rest of it. So
Sounds good to me.
All right, Rachel,
Yeah.
we'll have a great live stream there. And congratulations again. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to pop in and say hello to you because I know she was streaming, and also just give you a heads up. Oh yeah, I'm going to be streaming. I'm a bit of a train. When I start doing something, you may what the hell happened to my viewers? It's kind of because people tend to siphon off and start watching the antics over at my place. And I'm going to be drinking, which I don't normally do, but it's
and so 5,000 subscribers. Have a sip.
Yeah, I got a few brewskis lined up. I'm going to be into this Blue Moon.
There you go.
In French here, Belgian white.
There you
got
go.
The Belgian white. I got space. Just do a little cheers here. We could do that, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Cheers to that. There we go.
All right, boys.
So I like it.
Thanks much, Trev, for having me on briefly. And Dave, pickup artist, good luck in the voting.
We'll see.
We'll know, and it's going to be live.
That one will be.
That one award. All the rest of them, we know who's won now. We've had the vote. We had an academy that vote. There's going to be singing, dancing. And then presenters are coming. It is going to be an absolute comedy.
Rachel, before you get off, if you're hanging out, that's cool. I want to ask you, is there a category for best new vinyl community channel?
Was there one? No. And you know why? Again, here's why. We had new up and coming star on my program. Again, because of Maria Wesley. I wanted to be really sensitive to Maria, who does her own award show for the vinyl community at large. So my stuff is just for new people. Like if you just came in and joined in, hey, I'm Blaine. I got a channel. Great to be here. And then you start coming and everybody starts getting to know you. Then everybody you would have been nominated as one of the newcomers. So we got Johnny L. We got Steven over in South Africa. We got Ruth Ann. So these are just some of the new people that came in along. There's a couple others that were nominated in that category. But there's stuff like best dress, best hair, worst meltdown, because things get crazy on my program. People have emotional distress and they freak out. And then the parody channels grab a hold of the freak out and then they broadcast it for their audience. And that's just insanity.
Thanks, Twangers.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Come join the party later.
Love you. Yeah. All right.
Trevor,
thanks again for having me on. Blaine, very nice.
Thank you.
I've subbed you. I've subbed you. You got a new sub.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
On your own channel. Keep her going. Nice hat expos. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to go start a stream. Bye for now.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.
All right.
That was cool, man. Having VC royalty on here.
That's always nice. I was just about to say, hey, it's just me and you now, Trevor. So we got to hold it down a little. No, I've had a few. I'm only sitting at a couple hundred subscribers right now, but I've had a few VC heavy hitters come through and check me out. So that's always feels good. It lets you know that you're kind of on the right path. So, or you're catching attention. You're doing something to catch the attention of people who've been here for a while and are also well respected. So,
well, not VC personnel, but probably the biggest honor I got was a couple years ago. I did a ranking of the Faith No More catalog.
Yeah, no, I saw that video. Yeah,
and in the comments, it was months later, but in the comments, Matt Wallace, who produced most of those albums, commented on the video.
That's wild.
I was that floored me.
So
that floored me.
I didn't mean to burp there, dude. I was trying to mute my mic and I couldn't hit it.
Well, kind of like the last time we were together on this, you and Scott. I mean, that was how I look at it. It's like hanging out with friends, having some beers, talking shit,
Well, I assume
hanging
it's
out
a
without
free
leaving
for
the
all
house.
for a reason.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Whereas, on Steve's, it's a bit structured. We have topics that we're going to be talking about,
Yeah.
and this I'm
But we
like,
can talk about topics too. I mean, it's a free for all, but we can start a topic if you really want. Hey, actually, real quick, I like to get interactive with the chat whenever I come on a live stream.
right,
And I did my Walmart thing. I posted the link in the chat or whatever, not to talk about my channel or whatever. But I do want to know, push a 1 for yes, push a 2 for no. Did you go out and get some $15 vinyl from Walmart? That's a question to the chat. That's a question to Trevor too.
well, I could tell you no, because I'm not buying anything for a while, but from what I've heard, that was a super limited selection.
Yeah.
It was like
This year it sucks. Like it's
Yeah.
10 titles. Some of the albums are albums that I like, and like I think there is something that is new. It's that Jimi Hendrix Live in Maui.
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix Experience, and you can get it for $15. But the sad thing about this year's sale is anything that's like $15 is like normally $20. So it's almost like, what's the point? It's like it's no different for me to buy this now at $15 or when like tax season comes and everyone gets their tax returns to buy it for $20 in tax return season. So it's just like it's almost better to buy it in April. But it's like, I mean, last year, like, I don't know if you saw my video. That's a video that got 2,500 views, the most viewed video on my channel.
Right.
Like, I went nuts last year. And then when I went to Walmart a couple days ago just to check out the sale, and I had to think about my video for a second, and I'm just like, wow, man, I didn't realize how lucky I had it when I made that video. Because, like, I just loaded up. I dropped about $4,000 on vinyl at Walmart. And I had people in my comments section just like shitting on me a little bit, or like this, some haters or whatever. It's all good. But now I look back on that and I'm like, those haters got to be looking at me now being like, hey, you guys are pretty damn good deals. So I don't know.
Well, and I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's like Walmart themselves that seem like they took just such a major hit of making it a blanket $15 sale, which, I mean, for all of us is just like, hell yeah. I mean, like, Pink Floyd The Wall, $15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then on top of that, like last year was the year you could get all those like double sets, or like I got, hold on, let me reach up here real fast. All right, that was a really bad idea. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, $15 on that guy there. There's a 4 LP White Album box set. So it's like, to get that stuff at that price is unbelievable.
Right.
And, it's like, that's kind of what you go out when the sale's that good. That's like, I was going to small cities. I was taking like, 45 minutes, an hour and away. And it's like, there about an hour away from me, there is 2 Walmarts that are like a 1-2 punch, that are small cities, towns of like 5,000 people or less. So it's just like, when you can hit those small towns, you're getting shit like for crazy cheap. You're getting crazy deals. So,
right.
But
yeah, like I said, I think it's either Walmart or the distributors for Walmart. I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
but, I don't know if they got a wash in that.
Walmart. It's Walmart. Walmart's going to Walmart. Walmart could seriously drop it. They could have a $10 record sale, and they're still going to make $1 million an hour. That's right. That's just Walmart.
Because I think, like the model of when Best Buy first opened up about 30 years ago.
Great example.
They had their music section. This was, mostly CDs at the time, and they were cheaper than anyone around.
Yeah.
And I think their model was based on, okay, we'll lure them in for the cheap music, and while they're here, well, shit, we need a new washer, we need a new vacuum cleaner. All right, try to.
Well, yeah. Well, the idea with that is actually more in reverse. It's more like, oh shit, I need a new refrigerator, I need a new vacuum cleaner, I need a new dryer or washer. oh, look at this Crosby, Stills, and Nash best of. It's $5. Oh, let me throw that on there too. So it's like
Right.
not a big deal when you're already buying that big ass item, and then you walk by at checkout and like, oh shit, I need something to listen to on the ride home. That is that's like the Best Buy theory, or like, and
Right.
Walmart has adopted that theory too. Unfortunately, that theory has hurt record stores very badly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because and actually, if you don't mind hearing a quick story, because I used to work at a record store called Homer's here in Omaha, and there was a particular year where Santana had a new album, and it was advertised by a place called Nebraska Furniture Mart, which is basically like, think of Best Buy, but sometimes when you have like a local conglomerate, they are the big game in town. So it's like there's Best Buy down the street from Nebraska Furniture Mart, but to us, it's like we go to Nebraska Furniture Mart. So it's just like a staple in our state or whatever, or our city. But anyway, one year they're like, okay, new Santana album, $4.99, and they had a price match guarantee at that time. And so the funny thing is, they went $4.99 in their ad, and then Homer's ran another ad that said $4.98. So Homer's was paying like $11 to carry the Santana album, but they ran an ad selling it for $4.98. And so what everybody did at Homer's, everyone who worked at Homer's, they went into Nebraska Furniture Mart. They bought as many copies as they were allowed to of the new Santana for $4.98. And then Homer's ended up paying like $4.98, $5 a pop for this new Santana album when the major labels were charging them $12 a pop. So it's like, in a way, like it pissed off Homer's, because it's like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? And so it's like, we can't compete with that. The only way we can compete with that is to put like a hit piece ad out in the newspaper. And it ended up working out, but it's like, it ended up working out at the time. But the sad thing is that Santana CD is like a $1 CD now. So it's
right. Yeah. I'm just wondering if there's, I mean, there kind of is right now a CD revival at a low level right now.
Totally.
Because vinyl is so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy expensive.
You ain't lying. Well, and so let me ask you this. Do you ever go thrifting in Tacoma or Seattle?
Rarely.
Okay.
I probably should, because I know that's the method is just like, you know, you gotta just mine through shit week after week after week, and then eventually you might hit gold sometime.
Oh yeah, no, Seattle and Tacoma, I would have. Oh, okay, because Seattle definitely, I can speak from experience. Seattle sucked ass. Actually, hold on a second. Shout out Seattle.
Right. Even though we got our asses kicked last week.
That's all about, you got to keep the logos on. I'm not a fair weather fan out here in Nebraska, but no, speaking of Seattle. So, okay. First off, in Nebraska, listen to this, guys, CDs at the Goodwill, 59 cents.
Nice.
59 cents. But out in Seattle, CDs, $2.99. So whenever I would find a CD that I want at the Goodwill in Seattle, I would look at the color of sticker that they would put on it and be like, okay, it's red. Show up here in 2 weeks when they have red sticker day and get that CD for half price for $1.50 or whatever. So that was my mentality in Seattle. No way. Like, I don't have to deal with that at all here in Omaha. It's like, I find a CD I want, 63 cents, and I'm out the door. Right. So it's like, it is kind of,
it's kind of buried back in here. The only CD player I have is a boombox. I don't even have, you know,
dude, I don't even have one in my house. I have one in my car.
I don't even have one in my car. Neither one of our cars have CD players in
okay.
it. So, I mean,
you got cassette tape?
No, I just plug in my phone, and I mean,
I'm an
Apple guy. So,
all right, you got one of them brand new cars. So I still got a CD player in my Honda Civic. So,
and plus, you know, in the truck I drive for work, it's just, you know, USB. You know, plug in my phone. I listen to my podcasts, and then, like I said, I subscribe to Apple Music. I have no shame in it. I know a lot of people are just like, you know, you're not a real collector. I'm like, I can't bring my records to work. You know.
You know, the thing you got to think about though is like, what are you doing for a living? And like sometimes like, you know, if your subscription to something is $9.99 a month, and like you can figure out like it's worth your time to spend that much. Because I know people who are like, I'm a truck driver, I'm a semi driver, or whatever, and it's like it would be worth my time to subscribe to Spotify or Apple Music. So it's like if you do that stuff and they pay you well, it's like, yeah. Here's the thing: is like as far as being like ethical about shit, like when people criticize me for the Walmart run, for example, I'm like, get the fuck out of my face, man. I don't give a shit. It's my money. I can do whatever I want with it.
Right.
Because like when I had all those haters in my comment section, I'm like, bro, I do not care about your opinion. So it's like,
right. Well, I mean, as
Yeah.
much as I want to, I mean, we have local record store here. She's been there for probably about 2 years now. And prior to me saving up for these, trips and whatnot, I had her order stuff that I could have easily have done myself. There's
Yeah.
there's a plethora of online stores,
Oh yeah.
but just the fact that we have a small record store in our little town here, I wanted to keep her in business.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I'm not the type that, because I see it posted on Facebook all the time. Well, this is what I got this weekend. They got like 15 albums brand new. And I'm like, okay, not judging on anyone's time, I work 50 to 60 hours a week. I
Yeah.
have little time to actually do this.
Right. Yeah. No, I noticed like for a while there actually. Now on that note, I was like, where's Trevor been?
Yeah, I mean, I also have an Instagram for this channel where I just post a picture of, hey, this is what I'm listening to. I haven't even posted anything this week. Because I literally worked 59 hours this week, and that's not a
Wow.
flex or anything, but it's just fact.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to, come back here and sit with an album because one, I'd probably fall asleep while listening to it.
Well, yeah, and then also like, I mean, you don't want to pressure yourself into making a video for YouTube just because you have a YouTube channel or whatever. Because
Right.
like if you got something preoccupied or you're working 60 hours a week, it's like it's almost pointless to be shitting out a video when you're exhausted. Or like when I did like the Walmart video yesterday morning, and then it took me 5 hours to edit the whole goddamn thing. But like I felt like I was shitting that thing out. It didn't feel like genuine or anything. I didn't feel like I could be humorous, but I was like, okay, let me just shit this shit out real quick just for views or whatever. But like,
Right.
if I had more like rest or more energy in me, I would have made that a way better. And then also, real quick with the Walmart thing, because I was basically trying to predict last year, and technically, they would start their Black Friday this coming Wednesday and then run it through the following Sunday. Well, this year it's different. It started yesterday and will only last probably through this coming Sunday. So they started it early. It's fewer days, but I mean, I had this whole road trip planned. I had at least 12 Walmarts planned for one day, and I was like, dude, this is going to be my heavy hitter for the whole year, where I'm
Right.
going to go nuts part 2 on this Walmart run, and people are going to, I don't even care. Let Paulina Angel share the video. Let all of her crew like hate the video. I was like, I don't care. Let's have fun. Let's get some attention. Let's get some reactions and whatnot. And then I go to Walmart the other day, and it's just like, oh, bubble popped. So it's like,
Right.
and it's okay, but it's like you don't want to, it's like I made that video yesterday just to get it out there, but I really try hard not to shit out a video. Like I would rather make one video every 2 weeks than to make a video every day that is like not as inspiring.
Right. Yeah. I mean, myself, I'm probably at this point, I'm going to be doing threads, contest entries. 'Cause
Yeah.
I have, my inspiration of coming up with something is,
Yeah.
right now. So, but
Well, I'll tell you,
I have
man.
fun with those though. I do like the, if they're mildly challenging, I kind of like it as long as
Yeah.
it's not like, show me 15 albums of different artists that, it's
Yeah.
too much. I like
Well,
it when they're reasonably simple.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you with threads, it's like I fail whenever I respond to somebody's like I stopped altogether because it's like my thread views were getting like less than like 100 views, and it's like I don't want to create it. I don't want to be a channel that's only getting 100 views on my videos, because if I start to see something is getting less than 100, or it's like, all right, you got to do better than this. Don't do this material at all, because it's like I would hate to like blow up or like get popular, but then it's like I got all these like, I mean, I want to make videos that people are interested in and people watch. And like, you know, I mean, I see Dave the pickup artist in here. I'm not even kidding. Like, I love a video where I can push play, I can sit back, I can sort of turn my mind off and watch somebody else's sense of humor. And it's like I really don't get that a lot in the VC. I don't know if have you watched Psychedelic?
No, I haven't heard that.
So Psychedelic, actually, I didn't even know who he was either, but he lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, like 45 minutes away from me. And he has a YouTube channel with like 3,000 subs on. And his videos remind me a lot of like Dave the Pickup Artist, where it's like both of them are like this very psychedelic based music, and then acid trips. And I actually, so Dave the Pickup Artist, who's in here, it's funny how Rachel was just in here and she mentioned she was conservative. I'm a total conservative. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. You live out in Seattle. I don't want to like start an argument with you here.
I can't say I'm conservative. I can't say I'm liberal. I am what is probably, you know, I think most people are moderates.
You're probably right.
They probably take, or I'm just speaking for myself and just people I'm surrounded with.
Oh, I know.
We're usually so middle of the road. We take from both sides.
Oh God, dude! Out in Seattle, you got leftist nutsos.
Oh, I know there is.
Seattle, dude.
Oh, believe me,
it is insane. I'll tell you what.
Southern suburbs, so it's like,
yeah,
I'm not even in Seattle proper.
Yeah. Okay. No, for sure. No, you're in Tacoma. I would imagine you probably have a few more conservatives out in Tacoma. But the funny thing about Washington State in general is like Seattle, Tacoma, that whole small western portion of the state is leftist or libtard or whatever. No, I'm just bullshitting. Yeah. No, I kind of think I love those silly little vocabulary words, but because I'm a shit talker myself. But anyways, the funny thing about the entire eastern part, after Seattle, it's like not even kidding. It's like Iowa or it's like Nebraska. So it's like you have this small little sliver of Western Washington, which is super liberal, but it's so heavily populated that it carries the whole rest of the state.
Right.
And it's like it actually pisses off people who in like Spokane or out in the eastern part of the of Washington that like it's like because they ended up having to pay for a lot of Seattle's bullshit that they really shouldn't have to pay for.
Right.
So anyway,
that's where it's that's for this state. It is tough being so heavily concentrated on the west side. Speaking for the entire state, because I know I've gone over the mountains a handful of times, and it's desolate at first when you get over the mountains. And
well, see, and also Trevor, you're used to living in the western part of the state. So you're more comfortable and you're more like adapt to living out there. But the funny thing is like when I was out in Seattle, that's when I became conservative again, because it was like out in Nebraska going to college. It was almost like you couldn't be friends with someone in college in Nebraska if you weren't a Democrat. And so it just ends up being like a thing for you. But then when I was out in Seattle, I'm just like, wait a second. It's like, hold the brakes for a second. It's like the problems that we have here while I'm living in Seattle, I don't deal with this shit at all in Nebraska. Right. And it was actually like, excuse me, I did get fired from a job in Seattle, which was not fun. But then, when that happened, I started to miss home, and then I started to hate Democrats, and it was just like such a funny thing. What's up, Marcia? So we were talking a little bit about politics. I don't want to alienate anybody, but we're just sort of like, since I used to live out in Seattle and Trevor was out there too, not trying to alienate anybody, not trying to start arguments. I totally accept everybody's little, and Marcia, come on and we we could even reenact All the World's a Stage.
Yeah.
and I'll play the role of Steve, because I'm good at playing roles of people, if you haven't noticed. But
Come on.
But it's funny, just like Seattle, it's like I feel like I had to move out there and just to appreciate, living in Omaha or living in Nebraska. And I mean, I will say for sure, out in Seattle, as far as finding records, terrible.
Right.
I could barely find records out in Seattle. But I will say, I did find an original press. I think it was an original press mono of the first Doors record at the Goodwill.
Oh wow!
And at the Goodwill, they're charging kind of like more $3, $5, $7 a record at the Goodwill out in Seattle. But $3, I got the first Doors record, original press, not that bad. And then also one of the greatest finds of my whole life, a very strong VG condition copy, which sadly I don't own anymore, and I even kick myself in the balls daily over this. Stooges Funhouse, first press.
Oh wow!
Amazing condition, sounded gorgeous on the turntable, and I bought it for $50 at Sonic Boom in Ballard, and
I still have yet to go there. I've driven by it a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, and that was the funny thing is like I used to work really close to Sonic Boom, and then I got fired from this job, and then one of the many jobs in Seattle I got fired from. But I got fired from this job, and then I ended up finding out, like, whoa, dude, I live like that. I was working that close to Sonic Boom. I'm like, it actually was a good thing that I didn't know about it, because I would have totally spent my lunch breaks at Sonic Boom. I would have been coming back late every single time I would go there. I guarantee it. But we got Marsha in 5 minutes.
Yes.
So I'm going to hang around. Yeah, because I want to chat with Marsha for a little bit. But
absolutely, yeah. Like I said, just an unstructured thing. We just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah. Well, we're only an hour into it, so it's like, we got plenty of time.
Right. I did some dishes. I vacuumed around the house. I made it look like I did something by the time my wife gets home.
There you go. So when she catches you live streaming, you can at least say, "Hey, I did the dishes. Hey, I got all the shit done before I had some fun." So
she has yet to see a single video. I mean, as far as I know, I don't think she's ever seen a video of mine.
Are you kidding me? Is it like you're keeping it a secret?
No,
okay.
Not to sound disparaging. She has no interest in it.
Okay, well, that's cool, because then it's like you can sort of like, you don't have to explain. It's like, some married couples, you have to explain everything to the wife. So it's like if she gives you that sort of privacy, you got to appreciate that. But I'll tell you what, like here in Omaha, it's like I don't know how familiar you are with Tuco Vintage Vinyl Hunter.
Yeah, I've seen his videos. Yeah,
or like the Omaha Introvert, or like Derek Higgins. So like Derek's actually Omaha vinyl community. He's number one. He's got like 31,000 subscribers, and I think Hannah has like 13,000 subscribers. But I mean, let's be honest, it's because she's a cute blonde girl. So, but anyways, I mean, Tuco's got like 3,000 or like almost 4,000, and then Psychedelic has almost 3,000. And there's a few other of us Nebraska guys, like I guess myself, like I'm in the 200 range. I've noticed a few other people that I know in the 100 range, but I'm not joking. Like here at this point, like I want to catch up with like Psychedelic and Tuco.
Right.
Because, I mean, I kind of feel like if I don't, then no one in town is going to take me serious.
Now, is Tuco in the same line of business as you?
Well,
buy and sell, and
yeah, kind of. But Tuco and I actually have to get in the same line as Tuco here, because selling only records. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it ain't cutting the mustard. So I really wish it could cut the mustard. And you know what? I will say it at least gets me by. But vinyl is like the way I talk about it on my channel. I talk about it like it should be an investment. And it really isn't at that point right now with my life. And part of that is because my YouTube channel is, I'm trying to put out a lot of content and put myself out there. And I'm making a few sacrifices along the way. And that is like, I'm not working a real job right now. I mean, I'm only selling records and hanging out with my fucking cat and drinking beer and smoking weed all day. So it's like, it's like,
hey, you're hanging
I'm
out with us,
Oh no, this is this is also like honestly when you went live, I was actually, believe it or not, Trevor, I was out looking for records.
Let me grasp my pearls here.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's time to wake up, go back into the real world. I mean, Tuco, it's all of his videos are on small town Nebraskas, and what he does for a living is he travels to all these small towns, and he'll stop at all these thrift stores, and these are thrift stores that I've never been to. So it's what makes his channel especially like intriguing for a guy like me who lives in Nebraska is I get to see everything in like, David City, Nebraska, or like, everything in like Scottsbluff, Nebraska, or wherever, Grand Island, or wherever he travels to. Because I ain't gonna spend money to go out to those thrift stores. But it's like he works, he does delivery, he delivers tires to many businesses around the state, and then and he'll stop in these certain cities.
Okay, that makes sense. So he's kind of doing this side hustle while working.
Yeah. Totally.
So that works. I get that. I mean, if you're able to spend, a half hour here and there, so it's not like really impeding on your actual job.
Well, I'll tell you what, his job knows about his channel.
Okay.
And his job knows that he will stop like, sometimes for like 30 or, 45 minutes to an hour looking for records. And I mean, it takes a whole hour out of his day. And I mean, I don't talk to Tuco about the personal, like, so does your job pay you? I mean, I'm sure he informs them like, hey, I took a 90-minute break today. Make sure you're not paying me for this. Yeah. No, Tuco found those 60s Nirvana records. I think those came out of like his Dig of a Lifetime series. And those aren't the only Nirvana records, 60s Nirvana records that other people found, because it's funny. You guys have probably seen those Tuco videos of the Dig of the Lifetime. There's a good handful of people that I know here in Omaha who got just as much good stuff. And a funny thing is Tuco's videos from Dig of the Lifetime were getting like 20, 30,000, 40,000 views.
Right.
There are people in Omaha who don't have YouTube channels who could make one video showing the Dig of a Lifetime stuff, and easily one video, 40,000 views. That's how great some of these people's hauls were.
Right.
And then if I could even real quick comment on it, because ironically enough, I'm one of the guys in town that people try to beat. Like, oh God, I can't let Bill get to the records first. Oh no, Bill's going to get to the records. Oh no. And then when they find the records that Bill didn't get to, they make a super huge big deal out of it. Well, I'll tell you what, this whole dig up. Marsha, what's up?
How are you guys?
We're doing great. Yeah.
What's going on this Saturday?
I am leaving to go to dinner in about a half hour for some work folks that are in town for a conference. So
I was going to say, what are you all dressed up for?
Thanks.
Yeah, you're looking fabulous.
Exactly. I am needing a half hour to kill, so this is perfect.
Awesome. You know what? Sometimes you need something like that to just like relax. You spend all this time getting ready, and now it's just time. Let's just chill with the boys, or chill and talk records or whatever. But we're just talking about Tuco, actually.
Yeah, I've watched some of his videos, but I don't watch all of them because I get jealous because he finds stuff in Goodwills, and I have never found much of anything in a Goodwill outside of CDs. I'll get some good CDs there on occasion.
What area of the country do you live in, Marsha?
Orlando.
Oh, well, shit. No wonder you don't find stuff at the Goodwills. I mean, the bigger city that you live in, the harder it is to find shit at the Goodwills. Okay. Yeah. So don't feel jealous or don't feel bad, but
I also think a lot of it has to do with it's such a transient state. Everybody gets rid of stuff from where they're from as opposed to bringing it down with them.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been out there?
I've been here officially 18 and a half years, but more like 19.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Well, I've been to Orlando once. I was in 3rd grade, and it was more of just like a Disney World vacation. But I mean, that would have been like probably more like 30 years ago. So,
I always drink too much too when I have time to kill and I have to drive. So that's
Oh shit.
not a responsible thing for me to do, especially when I'm meeting with some of the higher ups.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't want to get in that kind of trouble.
Got to keep my wits about me.
Truth.
So I see you're rocking a Michigan shirt, Trevor.
I am. And if you look closely, it's in
Oh, crazy.
stone.
I didn't even notice that.
The Petoskey stone.
Oh, it's a Petoskey stone shirt.
If you look real,
all right.
real close, yeah.
I thought that was like an indie band rock T-shirt or something.
Yeah, it's a band called Michigan.
Although Petoskey Stone would be a good indie band name.
Yeah, I was going to say you could have thrown me off there.
Yeah, I got this. Not this past summer. Last summer, we took a trip up to Traverse City. So, and I hadn't been up there in decades, and it was a great trip. I loved it.
I think the last time I was there was probably 94, 95.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time.
It was in the 80s. Last time I think E.T. might have been a big movie at the time.
Oh, really? That long ago?
Yeah. So
I've actually never been to Michigan, but my dad is originally from Ann Arbor, and my brother was born in Ann Arbor. So
Ann Arbor's a pretty cool town, or at least it was the last time I was there.
Yeah, I haven't been in Ann Arbor in a long time, but downtown Detroit is really nice now.
Is it really?
Yes.
It's much different.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess that's good to hear.
Yeah. So when I was there 2 years ago, I think it was, my sister and we went down to we went to Third Man.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right around Halloween, so it was right around this time of the year. And we actually walked around some of the neighborhoods and stuff because my sister's like, I want to check out these houses. I never would have done that.
Well, yeah, because I used to go in that area. I used to go to Alvin's and the old Miami.
Man.
And I mean,
Alvin's. I haven't heard of
this
that
is in the 90s, and it was just like it wasn't unusual if you saw glass surrounded your car. So, and it's much different now. So, yeah, I want to go back just to hang out more than a day type thing.
Yeah, it's
and
so
now we're
weird.
not we're not bugging Steve about talking Detroit.
Right.
Now you're bugging me about it.
William, because he's got a connection.
Well, and also like I'm a huge Iggy Pop and the Stooges fan, which is
From
definitely that. Oh yeah, no, that Detroit proto punk, that early 70s rock. It was like funny when the Stooges were out, they didn't even know how to classify the Stooges.
Right,
they were that far ahead of their time. So
well, they're also considered the MC5's baby brother band too.
Yeah,
and what's funny about that is like they both got discovered by Elektra on the same night. Mm-hmm. And it was like that was back when Elektra. The funny thing is, when you do your research on like psychedelic rock of the late 60s, it's like Elektra were like literally the dumbasses of psychedelic rock. And then they ran into Ann Arbor, Michigan one day to an MC5 show. The Stooges just so happened to be there, and they were like, "Oh shit, we'll sign both of you guys." And that was like they would just go to a city and they would just sign anybody. And that's like why a lot of the psychedelic records that you hear from Elektra, like I'm trying to think of there's a band on Elektra, the psychedelic band that is not good at all, but it's like the MC5 and the Stooges are like the most notable psychedelic records of that time, like of any label.
Yeah.
And so it's like so funny that it's like, here they were, they just landed in the right city at the right place at the right time. And it's like, we'll sign both of you. And they are, to this day, even the most highly sought after psychedelic records from that generation. So
Trevor, did you ever watch that documentary I recommended to you? Our City is Burning.
No, I didn't get a chance to.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's about the music scene in Detroit, obviously, if it's, named after an MC5 song.
Right.
But Iggy Pop talks about like how during that time, like record labels and everybody was coming into Detroit to check out the new talent. That's why Alice Cooper moved back to Detroit, all of that.
Right.
So,
and
then because they juxtaposed that against the Motown thing, which had was going on feverishly a couple of years before.
Well, Motown was super mainstream back then.
Right. But the thing is, though, something I didn't know about, and Alice talked about this before, how intertwined the whole music scene was. Because, Alice Cooper, the band, would be playing with the MC5 or Bob Seger, but in the audience would be members of the Temptations or the Four Tops. They would all go to each other's shows, and I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, the smaller scene too. It's not like now where there are, dozens of different scenes, but they're super cliquey.
Well, the funny thing you say about that is there are artists who will go check out an artist that is smaller than them. Mm-hmm. There are still those artists who those major label, those the big artists who have big names who will go like Metallica, for example, will go check out a smaller artist that is getting a lot of hype or whatever. Or Taylor Swift is a great example of someone who will keep up with the artists who are kind of below her a little bit. So, I mean, and to get that endorsement from an artist that's a little bit bigger than you, how much does it do for that person's career once you're getting, once you get that type of endorsement? So
right. Well, I mean, even here, this is a long time ago, probably about 10 years ago or so. I went and saw the Sword. The band. Watching them, and a couple feet away from me was Sean Kinney from Alice in Chains.
Wow.
Just
that is wild. Yeah.
There to check it out. No one bought it. Just, that was kind of cool. I didn't say anything to him because what am I going to say?
Yeah. No, and I've had moments like that where I've been at a show and then you notice wait a second, actually, no, wait. Have you guys heard of a guy named Kelly Stoltz? He was sub pop artist from San Francisco and then moved up to Seattle and recorded just a few records on Sub Pop or whatever. But I happened to be on vacation one time in Seattle and I saw Kelly Stoltz, and Spiral Stairs, the guitar player from Pavement, was at the show. And you're just everyone around us was like, holy fuck, is that Spiral Stairs from Pavement? And oh my God, it was. And you could tell the people around us wanted to be like, hey dude, how's it going? Let's talk about Pavement or whatever. But it was the cool thing about that was we were all so down to earth that we were you know what? Let him do his thing. And I think maybe a couple people went up and bought him a drink and had a few chats with him up at the bar after the show. But it was just I mean, that's almost the smaller and more independent you get, you do get a lot more of those more intimate moments with artists. So it was quite the surprise to see the guitar player from Pavement hanging out at this, indie rock show in Seattle. So
nice.
And that, and that's the cool thing. The more kind of I mean, working in a record store for a few years, I just became accustomed even to liking smaller, more indie rock bands. And then when you would go to see them, you'd be very surprised the amount of shoulders that you would rub at these indie rock shows. If you don't mind me mentioning one, have you guys heard of the Mountain Goats? I think they're a 4AD label. So the Mountain Goats came and played a show. This would have been 15 years ago in Omaha. same weekend that John Mellencamp came through and Donovan opened up for John Mellencamp. Well, fucking Donovan was like, fuck it. I'm going to go hang out with some of the local musicians down at Sokol Underground at the Mountain Goat show. And we were all like, Donovan was drunk as fuck. We were all we were sitting in the van having jokes with Donovan. There were like 21-year-old girls in the van partying with us and everything. Like, this is like, not even kidding. Like when I was in that moment, I'm just like I almost took it for, I totally took it for granted. Like, I didn't even realize, like, I'm actually in the car with fucking Donovan right now.
Nice.
And we were all drinking and joking and having fun and partying. And there are two 21-year-old girls with us. It's like, you cannot like, you don't wake up in the morning and say stuff like that. Like, I'm going to be doing this later tonight. The right. Shit like that, it just happens. So to be able to, like, I don't know, I was not coming expecting to even tell that story on the stream tonight. But there are those moments that are just like, you know, I mean, that's why we love music. That's why we love these artists, and you know, it's why we go to shows. It's like, you just never know when you're going to have some special run-in, or like, you know.
Well, yeah, I've told this story a few times where, you know, I was at a Helicopters Super Suckers show, and is it upstairs venue? Bar was super thick. I went downstairs where they had a bowling alley, and this is at the Magic Stick. So on Woodward.
Another name. Trevor, you remember all these places. I don't remember the names of them until you mentioned them. I'm like, that's right.
Yeah. Well, part of the Majestic complex. So I go downstairs to grab a beer because no one's there at the bowling alley. I turn around and literally bump into Wayne Kramer.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
and I had met him one other time before, and I realized who he is, and I'm like, Wayne, what are you doing here? Like, I know him. and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go upstairs and jam with the Helicopters for a couple songs. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, you are. He's like, yeah, but don't say anything. I'm like, lips sealed.
Wasn't he living in Berkeley though for many, many, many years?
Maybe in like the 80s. I know in the 90s he kind of transferred out to Los Angeles.
Oh, he went Hollywood. Okay.
Yeah. So I really wanted to see him a few years ago when he was doing like the MC50 shows, where it was like him, Kim Thale from Soundgarden, Billy Gold from Faith No More. I forget who was drumming for him, and then they had this other singer. I can't think of that guy's name too. He's like 7.5 feet tall and whatever, but they were doing like this celebration of the MC5, and their VIP package was like $125. I'm like, that is almost reasonable, because you got like his book, and you know, you hung out with him for a little bit. You're able to, you know, I think you got a signed poster and all this other shit. And for me, it would have been cool to see him and hang out with Billy Gold from Faith No More, like one of my all-time favorites. So
did your dad ever have any doings and goings-ons with the MC5?
I don't think he even seen the MC5.
Okay.
I asked him that a long time ago. I don't think he ever even saw them, which I thought was weird.
So I asked my mom if she ever saw them, and she said, the only time I ever went to the Grande was to see Leonard Cohen.
Wow.
That's so cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you kind of want to be able to say, like, you saw a band like the MC5, but hey, Leonard Cohen ain't a bad either.
No.
She had said, she goes, and I think I had to lie to my parents to even go and see Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
But then again,
it was in a very, very bad neighborhood at the time.
and still is, for that matter.
Yeah.
But if you saw like the roster of what the Grandy had over those few years it was open, I mean, it went all over the place too. So in a way, it doesn't shock me that Leonard Cohen played there.
No, it only shocks me that that's who my mom went to go see. Like that's that's who my mom risked the bad neighborhood for. Was Leonard Cohen, not this dangerous band, the MC5.
Right. I mean, was Leonard Cohen always in her wheelhouse, or?
I never knew my mom even liked Leonard Cohen, but I can't say that I'm surprised because my mom loves Bob Dylan.
Okay.
So, like, of the genre of the bad, sensitive folk singer guys, she apparently is a Dylan and Cohen person, where I'm a Dylan and Neil Young because I can't stand Leonard Cohen's voice.
Right.
So
not for everybody. You know what I will say? Because like
definitely not for everybody.
Well, I mean, a lot of people say that about Dylan. You know, they
That's
can't
why,
stand
yeah,
Dylan's
Trevor's
voice.
not a big fan of him, and I totally understand it.
Can I tell you the truth about, like, you know, if it's a singer-songwriter that is critically acclaimed, everybody's like shitting a brick over or whatever. It's like, yeah, Bob Dylan has a shitty voice. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. But it's like the reason why people like Bob Dylan is you hear like the genuineness, or you hear like it's different when you hear like it coming from the artist. And you can even like, a great example of that is like Dylan tribute albums that have come out in recent years, like last 20 years, by artists who have better sounding voices than Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think like, well, this person has a better singing voice than Dylan, this song's going to sound better. And it doesn't, because it's less inspired. It's more inspired by the person who wrote it and who created it.
And so I'll beg to differ on that one, but
oh, okay, interesting.
Because I said this before on the Steve's live stream that, you know, mine and my wife's wedding song is "Make You Feel My Love," Bob Dylan song, but it's done by Adele.
Well, that's a little bit different. I mean, for one, it's like, if I'm getting married and I'm at my wedding reception, there better be no goddamn Bob Dylan song ever playing. So I'm not even kidding. I would rather have like fucking Kenny G playing at my wedding than Bob Dylan. And I even say that as a DJ who accidentally put a Bob Dylan song on at a wedding. So,
oh man.
Yeah, so that is saying something. But like, no, I don't blame you. But it's like when it does come down to like, ultimately, like, what is the best version of this song? If it is a Bob Dylan song, it is what it is. The best version is the original version. Probably same with like Leonard Cohen, but it's like, you know, it's like, who's to say? It's like, you know, Johnny Cash covered a Nine Inch Nails song, and some people like the Johnny Cash version better. So it's like, you know,
and there's some people who don't know that that's a Nine Inch Nails song, which is
you're exactly right. And it's all arbitrary too. I mean, It's all a matter of opinion, and you know,
which I'm sure Trent Reznor is like, he doesn't care. You know?
I think Trent actually admitted that, like, you know,
it's his song now.
Johnny sort of stole it from him, but like, you know, in the same respect, I think Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor did that to like a Joy Division song.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
it was Dead Souls.
Yeah, in Dead Souls wasn't even like a particularly like a Joy Division, like a standout Joy Division song. So I think that's more like why it, like, Nine Inch Nails got away with it. But like you know, just a matter of you know, it's all arbitrary, like I said, and it's like we can sit here and argue like who did the better version, the cover version of the original, but like, you know, gosh, I don't know. That could be a quick round robin topic. You want to start off, Martha or Marcia?
Well, versions that I think are better
still
than the original. Well, I'll go back to Bob Dylan. I mean, George Harrison does a better version, if not for you.
Okay. I mean, that almost is like I mean, I guess I wouldn't have, like, that wouldn't have been off the top of my head, but definitely like probably a better version for sure. But then also like the Bob Dylan version isn't bad. Like
George Harrison with that slide guitar and everything, though.
Yeah. Okay. and sometimes it's like those little things that sort of like put it over the edge for you. But I mean, I'm gonna have to like really think hard on this because I brought up a topic that's like it's sort of hard for me to answer. So, Trevor, you're gonna have to go first unless Marcia has another has another answer. But
Wait, what was the question again?
so we're round robin topic. Cover songs that are better than the original.
Oh man, I think didn't we do this on our stream a while
I
back?
think it sounds pretty familiar. I will say
something to that effect. I know Charles Bradley does a much better version. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh,
Trevor.
it changes.
It changes.
Oh,
by far.
okay.
I've admitted to that.
Oh
and
yeah, I know.
I
I've
have
heard you
Black
say-
Sabbath tattoos, and I say that it's a better version.
But also, can I mention
By
something
far.
on that version though of the Charles Bradley? It's
Mhm.
also a completely different ballpark, even
Yeah.
because you're taking
That's
like
what's
a
so great about it, though.
right. So it's hard to compare, and I think I agree. I probably would say that the Charles Bradley version is like more, maybe it strikes more of an emotion in you than the Black Sabbath version, but but still, it's like we are also talking about like 40, 50 years of difference there in time of recording. So I mean that could be, I don't know, I don't want to get all nitpicky and say, you have to consider all that kind of stuff because I mean in all reality a cover version is a later version of what song we're talking about, but
Right.
yeah.
Some that I mean, even I didn't realize it was a cover, but I mean, since I'm a big fan of this band anyway, well, band solo artist Alice Cooper doing "Hello Hooray."
I didn't
For
know
the
that was a
longest-
cover.
Yeah, it's a Judy Collins.
Oh,
So-
well, there you go. That's why I didn't know.
So again, I didn't realize, I saw it had different writers to it. Then it wasn't until around the internet age that found out it was Judy Collins, and then I was able to check it out. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, Alice and Bob Ezrin kind of took liberty at changing some of the lyrics a bit, but the overall melody of it is fairly the same.
So
So-
my mom was a big Judy Collins fan, and we had a lot of those albums growing up. And I will say her version of Both Sides Now is better, in my opinion, than the Joni Mitchell one, because I don't like Joni Mitchell's voice at all.
Okay.
Can't stand it. Not that I'm actually going to sit down and listen to Judy Collins's version of Both Sides Now, but when I hear it, I'm like, it's a pretty song.
And that's, I think, I don't know if we brought it up somewhere else, but or I heard it in another. I think I heard this on the Drew and Mike podcast actually, where, especially in that time period of Judy Collins and Joni Mitchell, it wasn't that unusual for someone to put out a song, and then a few months later, someone else comes out with a cover version of it.
Yeah, I mean, Aretha Franklin put out Let It Be before the Beatles did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she recorded Let It Be. It's on Aretha 69 or Aretha Now, I think. I have it, but she put it out. Paul McCartney gave it to her a couple of months before the Beatles put out Let It Be.
Well,
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't know that.
Yep.
And
But-
yeah. You know what, guys? I feel like I just sort of brought up this round robin topic without having a good answer for you guys in response. So,
I've been guilty of that.
well, and I've
I
been
was
actually,
gonna- I think Aretha Franklin's version of Let It Be isn't as good as the Beatles. Just want to throw that out there. It's
no,
just-
that's very good. Actually, what you just said, I didn't know that Aretha had recorded that enough. So, I mean, I'm going to have to go and find that and listen to that again because
I mean,
now
it's
that
just
you've
a
said
matter
that,
of months.
well, also it's like I have to listen to that song like through the lens of like, oh shit, Aretha's version was first. So it's like now I need to have that experience. So it's like,
Mhm.
I don't believe she ever put it out as a single. I think it was just an album track.
okay, all right. Well, what album would that have been actually?
Let me go grab it.
Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Well, and while you're doing that, I mean, let me think of of my answer here because I mean shit, dude. I mean, I know there's an obvious answer of like just some like, and now I'm like starting to look around my room and like just get an idea, get like one song, just name like one song,
Right.
and now even that is like super hard.
I mean, even back in the day, I made like a mixed tape of nothing but covers. So that's.
I mean, when you put me on the spot for it, it actually is pretty impossible. So I mean, like, I mean, I could sit here and say like, Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. Oh, okay. Holy fuck. I don't even have that Aretha record anymore.
So it's track 4. And so I think her version of Son of a Preacher Man is better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So does that have a title track? Like, is that a Burt Bacharach?
This Girl's in Love with You. This Girl's in Love with You is a cover
of this guy's
Herb Alpert's This Boy's in Love with You. And it's great. I mean, I'm never going to say Aretha Franklin's version isn't better than somebody else's. She can prove that wrong.
So,
yeah.
I do like the Faith No More version of This Guy's in Love with You.
And then she does the weight on this one too. And I'll say that's one of my, I like the band's version better, but it's like by that much. I mean, and that's one of my favorite songs by the both of them.
Shockingly, I was listening to the last waltz yesterday.
Burt Bacharach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Burt Bacharach. Yeah, but Herb Albert sang it.
Yeah. And then she does Let It Be and Eleanor Rigby on this one. And she does Son of a Preacher Man, which, like I said, I like her version better. And then Dark End of the Street. Oh boy, that's the version you want, is this one. So yeah. Like I said, anything by her I think I like better than the original.
Yeah, let's see if that's even available on here. I don't. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. From 1970.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to come up with like so like I'm a huge like Isley Brothers fan, and I think they cover like a couple of Todd Rundgren songs that like I just like the Isley Brother version. I'm just like, holy fuck, this is the shit. Or like,
they do a great version of Summer Breeze.
I was gonna just say, thank you. I'm glad I let you pipe in there. Yeah, no, because I was gonna say that version of Summer Breeze. I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. The Seals and Crofts is all right, but like when the Isley Brothers do that, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes long, Trevor. It's got guitars. It's
it's a whole arrangement.
I do like the Typo Negative version of it, though.
It takes you places.
Okay. So. I like
Isley Brothers, Summer Breeze, one of the greatest cover songs ever, I would say. And not to, excuse me, get totally off topic here, but Metallica Garage Inc. had a lot of great covers on it. And like the Queen cover, which I think was called like Stone Cold Crazy, was amazing on here. And then there was like Budgie. They covered a Budgie song called Bread Fan, which I know Budgie's like a huge like kind of cult following in the vinyl community.
Right.
So I think that's really cool. But like there's a lot of great stuff. This is an entire covers record.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I had it when it actually I had an original Electra one.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and I regrettably sold it when I was unemployed. I actually saw them live doing a promo tour for that album Marsha would know, at the State Theater.
Yeah.
It's called the Fillmore now.
Yeah. Which is like, for them, a very intimate,
very super tiny. Yeah.
So, and it was the Friday before the Tuesday of the release of that. So the album wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because they would come out like Kirk came out with no gain on his guitar. He's just kind of strumming it in the die chant of Creeping Death. So the whole crowd is going, die, Die, and they start playing it. Well, then
Yeah.
they segue right into Die Die My Darling by the Misfits. And I'm a longtime Misfits fan. I'm just singing along. The guy next to me, he's just like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's a Misfits song. Oh,
Isn't
okay.
that's like the best thing when you're at a concert and they do a cover and you know it.
Well, but that's the thing. But the whole set, since they're getting ready to promote this Garage Inc.
Yeah,
album,
yeah.
the whole set was covers. They didn't do a single Metallica song that whole night. It was great.
You know, and I just want to say on that note, because Pieface just said here, Metallica covers are an easy choice.
Right.
Like, I wasn't trying to be obvious there, but like I just said, I was like sort of looking around my room, and I happened to be sitting right next to this Metallica Garage Inc. So,
Well, their cover of Turn the Page.
you know, and that's
All
another
right.
one. You know, that's another one because I'm not a huge Bob Seger fan.
Then
But
you
like,
can't go to Michigan. I've been
I-
banned. I've been
What-
banned from the state because I don't like Bob Seger. I'm joking.
wait, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Then you can't visit Michigan if you don't like Bob Seger. They're not going to let you in.
Wow.
I've been banned
Okay.
because I don't like Bob Seger. No, I'm joking.
Okay. No, it's like that. I was gonna say, wow. I didn't know it was like that, but
Oh, it is like that for sure.
okay. Well, you know, I will. I'm sure I could go into Michigan and it'd be just fine. But like, it's one of those things you got to just be careful, like what bars you go to. I think.
If
But-
there is a group of more than, say, 3 white people together, chances are you're going to piss them off if you say you don't like Bob Seger.
Well, I'll tell you what. Knowing me, I would probably end up at the Stooges / MC5 bar anyway. So it's like I'd probably be all right. And in fact, they would probably even love me. So.
Anyways, all right, gentlemen, it is 6. I got to get running.
Yeah.
Good.
Great chatting with you,
Thank you
Marcia.
so much for letting me
Yeah.
jump on. Have a good night.
Have a
All
great
right.
night and a great weekend. Well,
Take
are you
care.
chatting Steve
Bye.
live stream tomorrow?
No, tomorrow or next week.
Oh, okay.
Next.
Well, I'll catch you guys in 8 days then.
Right
All
on.
right.
All right.
Bye.
Night.
Have a good night, Marcia.
So,
All right.
and
Well,
then
it's
there
back
was
to just
2
us.
again.
Yeah. Down to the final 2. So
Back to the sausage party.
back to the sausage fest. It's all right, guys. I think it's probably more than likely a sausage fest going on in the chat as well. So
See what
it's okay.
Let's
We're
see.
dudes. We can do this. We've done this before.
Let me tell you about the first album by the Doom and Forsaken. Oh, okay, cool. That'd be cool to see.
And I'm sorry, guys. I do want to mention I am not exactly a metalhead, so
Nothing wrong with that.
I might have to put up you either or. I have to put up with you, or you have to put up with me. But sometimes it's just how it goes. So,
Well, I mean, I never expect anyone to like everything or anything for that matter that I like.
yeah.
And I think that's the great thing about the whole VC is just, you learn about things that you would never, seek out on your own.
I will agree with that for sure. But then at the same time, like there's been like I'm the type of person like I love to go on a rant.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've had to be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go on this kind of rant because it might offend the VC a little bit. Like maybe like I almost wanted to go on like an REO Speedwagon rant, but I feel like there's a lot of people in the VC who like probably Marsha likes REO Speedwagon, and I would hate to go on like a rant that would alienate someone who I'm like friends with. So anyway, I'm just like
I know Steve and Glenn and Randy, they went off to Tulsa to the Bob Dylan Museum. And that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. I mean, that was part of that episode that we had several weeks ago, talking about Bob Dylan stuff. I am the furthest from a Bob Dylan fan. Leading up to that episode, I did, again, using Apple Music, on Bob Dylan, I was listening to the Essentials playlist just to get a feel. I mean, and I admit there's some I actually liked. Am I going to go out and buy Bob Dylan albums now? Not a chance.
I'll tell you what, man, because I'm probably one of those guys. Like, I mean, I'll tell you what, I have at arm's reach, I have a giant box of Bob Dylan records. But can I be real honest with you?
What's that?
I sort of felt like Bob Dylan was something like along the years, and I've been collecting records for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm gonna find my Bob Dylan records. But it's like it's always been something that I feel like I need to own this. Like I feel like I am like obligated to like this. But can I tell you what? It's like I just went record digging today here on a Saturday. Waylon Jennings record here.
Okay.
Like I'm a bigger Waylon Jennings record. Like this doesn't more for me than Bob Dylan. And it's taken me like getting into actual like folk and country music to be like, okay, now what do I feel like about Bob Dylan? Because like when I worked at like Homer's, the record store, it's like everybody, it was almost like if you said you either said you don't know Bob Dylan or you don't like Bob Dylan, well, you're not allowed in the cool circle. Well, now that I've been able to experience the inside and outside of the cool circle, I can honestly sit here and say, I like Waylon Jennings or Willie Nelson or Jerry Reed, maybe even, or Ernest Tubb better than Bob Dylan. So it's just like, it's like, I almost feel like there are those certain artists where people are afraid to say, I don't like this fucking artist. Well, it's like, I'm the type of guy to say like, I don't fucking like the Rolling Stones. Like, I don't give a shit about Hackney Diamonds or whatever. But it's like, I know like 75 to 95% of the VC is like shitting a brick over this new album. It's like, my opinion don't matter at that point.
I have the bidet to prove it. If I could look up, the amount of streams I've been playing throughout the year, I could tell you right now, my number one full album streamed out is Hackney Diamonds. I've been listening to that like crazy. And I'm not a huge Stones fan for that matter.
Okay. Fair enough.
It just, for some reason, it clicked with me. And
that's sometimes that's all it takes. Is like, sometimes something just has to click with you. But like, I guess my opinion, and okay, in all fairness, I have not listened to Hackney Diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, I don't like an album like Tattoo You. I'm not into that. It's not for me. And I mean, I know there, like, my brother, who is a hardcore for, 50 plus years of his own life, has been a Rolling Stones fan. Tattoo You is his album. So it's like, it's his album. It's just not my album. And it's like, I don't mean that to shit on other people who like Tattoo You. But it's like, when I see this, like, when Hackney Diamonds came out, I'm like, okay, well, now I have to listen to this through the, listening ears of someone who doesn't like particularly like Tattoo You. Like for me, like I love like, anything 60s, Paint It Black, anything that era from the Rolling Stones, give it to me all day. But it's just like, for some reason, I just like, I'm not, it's hard to sell a guy like me a gimmick. Well, which is, ironically enough, I will go out and buy a Taylor Swift record. So while I say it's hard to sell me a gimmick, I just admitted that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are all hypocritical to some degree, but
sure.
I mean, when it comes to the Stones, like 60s to early 70s Stones, I'm good with like Hot Rocks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have all the big songs.
Yeah.
And then, some of the Mick Taylor era. And then it was probably about 20 years ago, I bought Black and Blue. And I was floored by that album. I loved it. And, I knew the big songs off of Some Girls, the next album. And, I mean, I got an extremely beat up copy that I pilfered from my uncle decades ago.
Yeah.
Even my spin clean didn't save it. So I'm thinking I'm probably eventually getting a newer copy of it. And I dig that album too. Yeah, there you go. And then they go into Emotional Rescue, and that's where I kind of like fell off for that record.
Yeah,
I got Tattoo You as a Christmas gift that year when it came out in '81, and I liked it.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you ever seen the Stones?
once.
Okay, and
I saw
I've
the Steel Wheels tour '89 for an
okay.
outrageous $25.
Oh wow, dude, are you
Well,
kidding me?
but the thing was, you got to realize at the time.
Yeah.
I remember you're a bit younger than I am. Tickets for concerts were like 10,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
$15.
No,
So
yeah. After adjusting for inflation,
yeah, and $25 at the time was just like, God damn. I mean, I like the year
Yeah.
before I paid $25 to see the Monsters of Rock tour, which this is like the first touring festival that the States had, which, headliner Van Halen, right before them, Scorpions, and then Dokken, second on the bill, Metallica, and then this
Oh
band.
shit.
Then opening up the whole thing was this band Kingdom Come, which everyone they were kind of the Greta Van Fleet of '88 because they sounded like Zeppelin. And,
Yeah.
so that cost $25.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, once you as soon as we start talking about inflation, honestly, we start talking about politics. So it's like I don't want to get into that discussion necessarily, but it's like, I mean, when I was in high school, like I just graduated high school and my buddy comes to my door while I was still living at home. This is back before we all had cell phones, and he knocks on my door and says like, "Hey man, you want to see the Eagles at the Civic Auditorium?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah." And so I paid $100 to go see the Eagles. At the time, it was a shitload of money.
Oh, absolutely.
And bang for your buck, can I be real honest with you? Shitty concert.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it was just like for $100 back then, shitload of money. And we were both sitting there like we both felt like our parents should be at the show and not us.
Right.
But I mean,
that's the thing I was saying earlier. It's just like I prefer being at a club than the big arena stadium.
Well, you want to know what's funny about that Eagles show that I saw? It was like the year after I graduated high school, and I tuned into this like radio. It's like the biggest like the big wig talk radio show of Omaha.
Okay.
It's called Todd and Tyler. I don't know if that rings a bell to anybody out there, but they said right at like the weekend after, the following Monday after that Eagles show, and I remember this, and we're talking like 25 years ago, basically at this point. And I remember they said, it's like, yeah, you spend $100 to go see the Eagles at the Civic Auditorium, or a year ago, Joe Walsh would have played the Ranch Bowl for like $10.
Right.
So it's just like, and the funny thing about that Eagles show that I was at, people literally did not get into the Eagles show until Joe Walsh started playing like Misty Mountain Hop or
Rocky Mountain Way.
Rocky Mountain Way. I'm sorry. So Misty Mountain Hop's the Led Zeppelin song. I'm sorry.
Right.
But no, I mean, for real, it was like Life's Been Good. All the Joe Walsh hits that we all know and are familiar with. Nobody got like I'm talking Civic Auditorium, not super huge compared to like something you would see like Key Arena, like Civic Auditorium, like less than 30,000 for sure.
Okay.
And when you're seeing hey, I know that kid who I went to school with in middle school, his parents are totally getting down with this Joe Walsh song right now. It's just like, dude, does that mean that Joe Walsh could have just seriously paid a $10 show at the Ranch Bowl and you guys would have all went and also gotten down just like you are now? But, I don't know. There are those people who will only go see a show, like they won't go see Joe Walsh for $10, but they'll go see the Eagles for $100.
Right. Yeah.
So,
it's I know, via Facebook, I see people I grew up with, gone to high school with, and you would think that, the big stadium, arena, amphitheater, that's the only places that concerts take place at. They don't
you're right.
go, but people like ourselves, true music lovers, we know that it's not limited to that, and I could say doing that, like I brought up Adele earlier, and you being in Seattle there for a little while.
Yeah.
My first time seeing it, I saw Adele at Numos.
No, you told me that. No, we were
Yeah.
chatting about that. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. So, the fact that I saw her in a pretty intimate setting and not being, a big arena, I kind of wear that as like a badge of pride,
Completely. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like when you get like, they're really, honestly, what you just said, there is no trade-off for the intimate experience.
Right.
And I mean, that even like, now I have to start thinking like, was there ever an artist that I saw? Like I saw like, I think I saw the band Cake.
Mm-hmm.
Who had that,
I saw them in a club too.
Yeah, no, I saw them play at Creighton University here in Omaha. And the Detroit Cobras opened for them during like the whole White Stripes,
the whole garage big.
Yeah, during that whole boom of the early 2000s, the Detroit Cobras opened up for Cake. And like I saw that show in front of like less than 2,000 college students.
Right.
And pretty cool experience. I mean, I wasn't like, holding my breath to see Cake or whatever, but it's like if you had a choice, like, would you rather see them like in a big giant arena opening for somebody, or would you rather see them in like in front of a smaller setting where you can be like, okay, I can actually sit here and appreciate and enjoy Cake?
Right. Can you hold that thought a second? I'm gonna.
Sure. Yeah, you're good.
You guys want to go say?
Yeah. No, we're holding that thought. What's up, chat? I'm trying to hold the thought with the chat too. So, guys, if you are not subscribed to the Pumping Vinyl channel, make sure you do it now, because the bandwagon will take off one of these days, and it's not going to slow down for anybody. So, basically, what I'm trying to get at is your support is appreciated now. So. And I think with Trevor's crowd, I might be talking to some metalheads. So I'm not particularly a metalhead, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had my metal phases. So
if anything, it's a group of three of us: me, you, and Simon.
Is that Pieface?
Yes.
I think Pieface could be subscribed to me, but it could have been several months at this point. But yeah, no, YouTube is fun,
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking there, Trevor?
I am drinking a vanilla porter.
Oh, okay.
From Breckenridge Brewery. Where is Breckenridge?
Breckenridge, Colorado?
Doesn't say where.
Colorado sounds about right.
Yeah, Littleton.
Yeah, okay, there you go. No, I was just there through a couple years ago. I drove through Breckenridge area. It's beautiful there. It's like Vail. So it's very yuppie. It's very touristy. But that whole area is like, it's gorgeous. It is like some of the most beautiful scenery you're going to see in the entire country. And that's coming from someone who lived in Seattle. So it's like, Breckenridge is amazing. I would say, comparably, it probably is like cost of living isn't very far off from like a place like Seattle, and very touristy. When I went through there, to be real honest with you, can I tell you why?
What's up?
You're going to think this is funny. So, I live in Nebraska, and I had a Discogs order that went really like weird and shitty, and it pissed me off like so bad. So my order accidentally got shipped to Breckenridge, Colorado, and it pissed me off so much that I literally drove to Breckenridge to get the package from the guy.
Wow.
And we're talking like 4 tanks of gas. we're talking like, no, it cost me way more in gas than it did. Like I should have just given this guy a full refund, and financially I would have been on top. But I was just like, it's just like okay. So the funny thing is about it is like PayPal had their shipping policies. It had just switched over to this thing called ShipStation, and ShipStation was so fucked up back then. Like it was just like they were just getting accustomed to being like new to PayPal and all that. And because of them, one of my orders got shipped to Breckenridge to one of my old customers from like a month prior. I'm like, how are you plugging in this guy's address when I already shipped his order like a month ago? And like I was on the phone with him and everything, and I was literally fuming on the phone. Where like it was to the point where the only thing that I could do to get it off my mind was drive out to Breckenridge to get the actual package from the guy.
That's dedication.
I'll tell you what, it is beautiful driving out there.
I'm sure. I want to go out to Colorado. I got a few friends from back home that now live there. I mean, coincidentally, one of them that lives there is now back in Detroit this weekend. Metallica's doing the big Friday, Sunday show there, so he's there for that. But I want to, and I know it's not as big as everyone thinks, but I would love to go at least once to Red Rocks to see a show there.
I've never been to Red Rocks. There have been times like I think Rock the Bells, which was a huge hip hop. I don't know if it still is, but like in 2009 they had like De La Soul and A Tribe Called Quest, and that was back in like my hip hop DJ years. So like when that show happened at Rock the Bells, I was trying to like get people to carpool, and I'm just like, dude, let's fucking go. And I'm like, now looking back on it, that was like 2009 when I had so many more friends who were who were equally as interested in hip hop as I was. I'm like, how is it impossible to get people to go to Red Rocks and see this like De La Soul Tribe Called Quest concert right now?
Right.
Or I think even Public Enemy was there. Or like it's like the list just like went on even.
See,
and
those
like,
two right there collectively, that would interest me.
Yeah, well, it's like at that point when you know like 5 to 10 people who are into that shit, it's like, hey guys, save up your money for just like 2 weeks. That's all you have to do. Buy a ticket, save your money for 2 weeks, throw down on some gas, and it's going to be so easy and so fun and so enjoyable. And we're all going to smoke bowls on the drive home and probably there too. So it's like, it blows my mind now. Well, no, there you go. Not to mention, thanks, Trevor. But it's like when you look back on that stuff, it fucking blows your mind. It's like, how is that stuff going on in my lifetime? And I couldn't even bump somebody else's elbow to be like, hey guys, let's fucking go.
Right.
Like, wait, you can't budget for this in the time that in the time that I'm giving you? And so the funny thing is about it, like I ended up not even going because it's like, okay, maybe for my budget, it's too expensive for me to go alone. Or maybe also I wanted to go with friends too. But it's just like, dude, now that I look back on something like that, because now like Plug 2 or Dave from De La Soul passed away this year.
Yeah.
So that happened. And I've never seen A Tribe Called Quest because Five Dog passed away too. That will never happen. But I've seen De La Soul, and that was very cool. I've seen them 2 times with Dave. And actually, you know, I think you said we got like 3 or 4 people watching, maybe. I don't know. But if you don't mind hearing an awesome story, and this goes down as like one of my lifetime's most awesome, greatest moments, is I was seeing De La Soul in Omaha or Council Bluffs at Harrah's Casino. They were opening for Public Enemy, Ice Cube, and there was somebody else. But De La Soul was 4 acts, and De La Soul was the opening act, and they were my favorite of the 4 acts. And I was like rapping almost every single lyric to the De La Soul concert. And I had Dave, aka Trugoy or Plug 2,
Mhm.
He pointed at me. Okay, first off, he was like, nobody is getting down to our set right now. What is going on? And
Mhm.
I was pointing to like, Dave, like, look at me, dude. I'm totally getting down. How are
Right.
you ignoring me? And then Dave says again, he's like, how is it that these two people are only getting down at the show right now? And then he points at me and he's like, except for this guy, he knows every word.
Right.
So I can't even tell you. And then Dave passed away this year, 2023,
Mhm.
earlier this year. And I will never forget that moment when Dave pointed his finger, literally pointed it at me and said, this guy's getting down to all of our words. And, you know, to be like, I mean, all of us probably have our special moments, maybe.
No,
You
yeah.
know, yeah.
I mean,
And like, I will just never forget that. And, you know,
well,
I mean, I
especially
literally was like rapping some of their lyrics and he was noticing. So,
well, you know, just dog. Come on. You know what? I'm gonna get these guys some
hey, you're good.
fires.
You're good. Well, hey, I guess you know, I have the chat and my full attention right now. So Pie Face, I think you are a metalhead kind of guy. You know, push a one if Rust in Peace is the best Megadeth album, and push a 2 if you want to have a discussion about it. But I will tell you, I was very happy to see Rust in Peace got a reissue back in May. And back in high school, I was more in my like music discovery phase. And I'm talking about Rust in Peace by Megadeth.
Right.
Trevor. And back in high school, I was a huge metalhead. And I just remember like Rust in Peace. Like for some reason, I just totally like identified with it. Or like I remember Nick Menza's drumming on that whole album. And I remember at the time I was even trying to become a drummer. And that was very influential to or very inspirational.
Right on.
To what I was wanting to become. And you know, it didn't pan out, and that's okay. But no, I just saw that they recently released Rust in Peace, and the cool thing about that is there was like a 2008 remaster of that album,
Mhm.
and this most recent 2023 is from the direct mastering of 1990. So it's like, it's not the remastered version. You basically, when you buy that on vinyl record right now, you're basically getting what would be a 1990 press. What would sound like a 1990 press of that record.
I had it on CD.
Oh yeah,
it came out, but
totally.
I saw them twice on that tour.
The Rust in Peace tour?
Yeah.
No shit?
Yeah.
Because dude, so many people say that was the best lineup of Megadeth.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look up on here on YouTube, you know, Megadeth, Detroit 1990 Pro Shot show. I was actually at that show because they were opening for Judas Priest on the Painkiller tour.
Damn, that's crazy.
And the reason why it's Pro Shot, it's what you saw up on the video screens at the Palace. So someone just recorded it and you know, took it with them as Judas Priest that night, same thing. And I was lucky, and that day always sticks in my mind. This is when I was working for Harmony House, but at their warehouse, the local record chain. Priest actually came in that day for a luncheon. So I got to have lunch with Judas Priest that day.
Wow.
That
I mean, shit, dude, that's amazing, man.
Well, and you know, at the warehouse there, you know, they'd have people come in all the time, and 9 times out of 10, it was people I could give 2 shits about. But I'm like, well, cool, but I'm getting fed today. So, because you know, you worked at a record store, it's you're not going to get rich working at them.
Oh, so. You're right. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. No, and part of that is like the reason why you work at a record store is you want to have those like experiences or those run-ins with like.
Well, and especially when, well, this is in the 90s. Guest lists were easy. I don't know what it's like now.
And not too easy, yeah.
And I think of the days of, promo copies. Now, in these days of digital downloads,
yeah,
promos are probably not even in existence anymore.
Dude, do you want to know how cool promos were back in the 90s? You could literally get a date with a girl because you had a promo CD before it came out.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had stuff a few days beforehand or a couple weeks beforehand.
Well, also what I just said might sound a little bit ridiculous. Like, oh my God, you could actually get a date with a girl just by owning a promo CD. Like that sounds stupid now. That sounds like, but no, back in the day when you had an album that was out like 2 months before it came out, or even a few weeks before it came out, do you know how cool you were to people?
Right.
Like, not only were you cool to that person, you were basically, essentially, a member of that band to that person. No, I mean, you weren't, but like, I mean, when you're going out, you're in your car, you got the new CD like a couple months before it's even out, and you're playing it for a hot ass girl. It's like, dude, that was your in.
Right.
Like that, like, I just want to say that now to put that into perspective. Like, I mean, that's how cool it was to have an album back before, like, and then Napster came around, and then like everything was getting leaked.
Right.
So it's just like your chances to go out with a girl on a promo album, like, decreased significantly after Napster. So
yeah, I never had that kind of power play back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, and I never did either. I mean, that was before my record store time too.
But you did get like a couple of impressed looks, like,
hey,
I got the new, name it.
I think the best I ever came to it in college, like I dated a girl who was like a Nick Cave fan, and I had the new Grinder Man before it was out. And like, she didn't even give a shit. It's like, it was like, I was like, hey, you want to hear that new Grinder Man? And I gave it to her, and she's like, that's cool. So it's just like, I mean, that's how different it was, man. I mean, and I'm talking like, if it were 10 years earlier and I said, hey, I have that new Grinder Man, or I have that promo copy of like Nick Cave Murder Ballads or something like that.
Yeah.
Then it would have been like, oh my God,
well,
you're getting some ass tonight, bro.
Well, yeah, especially for a Nick Cave fan that's female. You would.
Yeah. No, you're right.
or
very few.
If you had a Tori Amos promo ahead of time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. No, we could come up with examples all day. But like, point being is like, having a promo, it did sort of lose its stigma there after a little while. And like,
I don't know about I mean, working there is just nice. I got probably a good 80% of my CD collection from working there, because I would just do all this stuff, and you make friends with the label reps, which I think that's probably a thing of the past too.
That thing, when I was working at the record store, like the whole like rubbing shoulders with the record executives was still kind of a thing. But excuse me. But as far as getting dates with girls because you had a promo CD, by the time I worked at the record store, that day was done.
Right.
So like I would even hear those stories even, and like maybe it was like, maybe I tried to pull that off a couple times. So like having a CD just like wasn't a big deal. Like by the time I was working at Homer's, or like, how many promos do you think certain albums had? Well, back in the 90s, there was a promo for everything, even like the biggest release.
Yeah, that's where I got most of my biggest releases.
Yeah. And that's where you could pull off being like, I'm cool because I have a promo of the new biggest release before anybody else does. Like, and that would be like, even think of it this way. Think of like there's no Napster even. There's no MP3 file sharing program that we have, but you are the one guy with a promo CD like 1 month or 2 months, because that's back when it was like they would like put a single out on the radio and they would wait 2 months before they would put the actual album out. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. Usually they put a single on the radio and they want to get that record in the store fast so people can start buying it as soon as possible. But like that didn't actually happen until like, you know, the Napster era. I think the Napster era honestly probably shifted that.
This doesn't show as a promo. I know I got it as a promo because the label rep gave it to me. I didn't even have a turntable at the time, so I'm glad I still have this.
Oh shit!
Which at the
Holy
time,
fuck, dude!
even at the time, a new copy of this was probably $35 because there's an import only.
Can I? So that was like a what? 1995, 96, 97. Okay. Well, okay. Can I speak on that 90s vinyl for a quick second?
Go ahead.
Because let me use this one as an example. Is the first Foo Fighters record with the gun on it?
Yeah.
Brand new record, 1995.
Yeah.
Record store.
Right.
$8 record. Cheaper than the CD. The CD would have been $10, $11. Record, $8.
I was surprised that they even pressed it on
vinyl. That's the thing.
In Europe, you know, they were still clinging on to vinyl through the 90s.
Well, and I think also they were just kind of pressing vinyl, kind of like just because back then.
Right.
And like it was like there was just like that. It was like Nirvana, Nevermind. It's like a 1991 press of Ass is like a $1,500, $2,000 record, depending on what condition of it is in. But back in like 1991, like, you know, 1991, there were people out there who still were using their turntables, who were not shifting over to CDs. So like the record industry back then was like, oh, well, we still need to sell this new album to people who have a record player. So they're going to press a few albums on vinyl.
Yeah, they probably only pressed it.
Oh, they didn't press very many of those at all. Oh, a few thousand, which is a very small number compared to what it actually sold. So it's like you are talking literally like a $2,000 record.
Because I mean, I was going with the wave at the time. CDs were it.
Yeah. Oh no, we all were. Yeah.
You know, so I regret a lot of things, you know, that I didn't pick up. Another one, and I've probably shown this off a couple times. I bought this brand new at the time, also 97. This $15.
Yeah.
Time, you know, on Geffen Records. This probably goes for maybe just over 100 now.
Yeah.
At one point, it was about 150. But
I'll tell you what, man. That was actually like a kind of a bad reminder for me because I sold a Misfits record. Actually, I think it's called like the Static Age. Is that right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that also came out in 97, even though it was recorded in like 78.
Yeah. No, I had an original 97 press of that, and I undersold that like immensely. And now I look back, like there are a number of records that I've sold on Discogs that like I undersold myself like immensely, and it's all because the market wasn't where it was at now.
Right. Yeah.
And
in end of 2010, early 2011, I was unemployed, and I had like one of those like component like turntable, CD player, cassette player.
Yeah.
But it was like stuck in a closet in this, you know, tiny little house that me and my wife had. And I wasn't working. So I'm like, well, I'm not playing this stuff. You know, I'm, you know, get some pocket money. So I eBayed a lot of stuff that I'm just like, God damn, I would
No,
love
yeah.
that now.
Yeah, and especially like what you just said, for pocket money, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, here's the thing, truthfully, after adjusting for inflation, like, your $80 back in like 1997 or whatever would have been like maybe $300 now, but it's just like it really isn't much of a difference. I mean, because $300 now is going to spend a lot faster than like, your $100 back then. So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, because
but
$300, as we were saying, like about concerts, $300
yeah,
could buy you a ticket now
yeah,
in some
yeah,
shows.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and then funny thing is about that, now that you bring that up, and not to go like too off topic or whatever, but like, it's like you go to see like Fleetwood Mac nowadays, and it's like, how much is it? Like $200? It's like you feel like you're paying more money to see these artists that are way past their prime.
right. Well, and thought about this earlier. That exact thing of seeing these guys before they go. Sometimes you don't want to have that as your last memory, because I mean, I love Motorhead.
Yeah.
Love Motorhead. Saw them probably at least a half dozen times in my lifetime. And I am glad I didn't see any of the last couple of tours when Lemmy was like frail and
Yeah.
skinny and out of breath. And
Yeah.
I don't want to see the guy that we all thought was going to outlive Keith Richards,
Yeah.
look like that.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying. I mean, I saw Bob Dylan. I think the year was 2000, and by that time, even like that was like when I had just started getting into to Bob Dylan too.
Okay.
And that was more like I kind of felt like I am obligated to like the concert that I'm at right now. But truthfully, like all of his songs, he performed them like exactly the same for like an hour and a half. So it was almost like hearing the same song for an hour and a half, which was seeing Bob Dylan. But then at the same time, it's like I also felt like it would be wrong for me to criticize this and say this is a shitty show. But a couple years later, Willie Nelson opened for him, who's older than Bob.
Right.
And people were saying like Willie kicked Bob Dylan's ass.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I mean, I think, it's like the older we get, or like, I can't explain why people are paying what they pay to go see a concert.
Right.
Like most recent example, Taylor Swift. Like, why are people paying $1,000 to go see Taylor Swift when they could have paid like maybe $100 or $200 10 years ago when she was a better performer anyway?
Right. And then going back on the, seeing them before they're gone or well past their prime. I mean, me being the, huge Black Sabbath fan, there is a caveat to that.
Yeah.
I'm a Ronnie James Dio Black Sabbath fan first and foremost.
Are you really?
Oh, absolutely. Because that's when I discovered Black Sabbath, it was when Mob Rules came out.
Okay.
So that was, to me, that was Black Sabbath. I knew nothing of Ozzy being in Black Sabbath. I knew Ozzy. I didn't know he was in Black Sabbath for a couple years. So, and later on, I do enjoy all those 8 albums, with Ozzy, and, saw him plenty of times, even saw him once with Tony Martin fronting them. But so, the reunion with Dio happens in the, when was that? Mid 2000s. And so I got to see them a few times with Ronnie back again. It was amazing. Unfortunately, Ronnie James Dio passes away. So the original, almost all the original, the Ozzy fronted version gets back together. They put out an okay record with 13. They go out on tour. Of course, I'm going to go see him because Tony Iommi is, my god, as a guitarist.
Yeah.
Not that he's super flashy. He's not a shredder by any stretch of the imagination, but
Yeah.
he's my favorite. And Geezer Butler, fantastic bass player. I go out to, thankfully, it was at the Gorge, on the other side of the mountains. First and only time I've been there. Most gorgeous place I've ever seen a concert at, ever. And Ozzy, I thought, sucked. Absolutely was horrible.
Wow. Yeah.
And I make no bones about it, especially after a few years of seeing them fronted with Ronnie James Dio, who was flawless live. And, because I am a critical person. I will say if they're awful, they're awful.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it was just that show. Well, I saw professionally shot shows that they put out on Blu-ray, him doing the same thing, being off key, off time,
Yeah.
and then then they did another tour of the end, when they break up, same thing. I'm just like, I'm coming here to see Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler. It's not because of Ozzy.
Well, on that note, there are a lot of artists that perform so often that it becomes like going through the motions to them. And like a great example of that would be like Billy Joel, who performs in front of large audiences, Madison Square Garden or whatever, and he's performed his hits and his songs so many times that it's just like, it becomes like muscle memory in a way to him.
Right.
And it's like, and it's like to Billy Joel, it's muscle memory. To Ozzy Osbourne or Bob Dylan, they're gonna have to like reach into their like the depths of their soul to like really recreate something that is something somewhat similar to a version that they made like 20 or 30 years ago. So, anymore, it's like, it's like I was just saying, like the Eagles concert that I went to in high school. All of that was about like, we had spent like our entire high school lives listening to classic rock on the radio. So when the Eagles coming through and play a show, it's like, fuck yeah, we are expecting to see like, this 1970s version of the Eagles, when it's like, you know what? Hey, it didn't happen like that.
Right.
So it's like, it's like, that's just part of like kind of what comes with like, seeing like a reunion, seeing like a Motley Crue or a Poison reunion. You're not going to get, it's like even like down to like when you would see a Poison concert in like 1987, you're seeing like chicks flash their tits and all that shit. Well, if a chick is flashing their tits in the year 2017, man, I'm sorry, them tits are just going to be looking a little saggy compared to what they were looking in 1987. So it's just the difference. It is what it is. But that's like, we can compare like how Poison sounded in 1987, and we can compare that to what tits would look like 70 years later. So,
but then there's like other performers. I've seen this guy. Yeah, this about 5 years ago was the last time I was seeing him in this area. Tom Jones. At the time he was, just south of 80, and still sounded fantastic.
Yeah, well, there's an exception, and like obviously, like Mick Jagger is going to be a very big exception as well.
Yes,
but that's part of it. Like, if you had to take notes from those types of guys, Tom Jones and Mick Jagger, I think their trick to everything is, stay active and enjoy life. And you shouldn't have the problems that like most other 80-year-olds are having. So anyway, it looks like Pie Face is getting out of here. But
yeah. All right. Thanks, Simon, for hanging out with us. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. So gosh, I don't know, Trev. We're still hanging out here.
Well, I'm probably gonna get out just so I can deal with this small horse here.
Well, yeah, and like it was cool to see you jump on here. And like when I was actually, when you started the stream, I was driving home. I was out and about. I actually was doing my Saturday record dig. So I was sitting here next to this box of records in case maybe you were curious what I got. It wasn't anything too special, but You know, I mean, when I saw you jumping on the stream, I'm like, hey man, might be nice to come out and shoot the shit with Trevor a little bit.
Absolutely, so. Yeah, anytime. Yeah, and like I said, this is totally unscheduled. It's just like I said.
No, that's cool.
I got the house to myself.
Yeah,
uninterrupted. Besides, you know, this guy who just all he wants to do is play.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like shit. I think I lost my train of thought there, but I'm also I've had 2 beers in me. And I don't know if you noticed, but I went off camera and I smoked a big fat bowl.
Oh, no.
Well, you were talking to Rachel, so but you know what, actually Rachel's stream is probably going on right now, and you know, maybe that would be a good idea.
Yeah, check it out. I got a few ends to tie here, so
cool. Well, hey, if you get time,
I'll be home in about 2 hours, so I got
okay.
You know, make sure it looks like I had done something today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, great chatting with you, Trevor, and a big peace to the Pacific Northwest, because you know I'm not lying. I miss you guys. So,
well, you know, if you ever have the inkling to, you know, come up for a visit, let me know.
Hell yeah, man. It might be, you know what? I'll keep you posted. I'll tell you that right now. Because you never know when me and the Seattle trip is in the future. Could be sooner than later. So
cool. All right.
Well, all right, Trevor. Well, have a great rest of your weekend, and peace to you and all your subscribers. And if you're hearing this and you haven't given me a subscription, I would appreciate the love. So.
Yes, go ahead for Pumping Vinyl. There you go.
Pumping Vinyl with William the Flipper. Right. But anyways, VC, have a great weekend, and it's been great.
All right. We'll talk to you guys.
All right. Peace.
Bye.